to life at the track they call the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware, as we get set to bring you live coverage of the Budweiser 500. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins, and welcome to Dover, Delaware. As you can see, it is quite windy, and there is a threat of showers this afternoon, so we're going to get this race started as quickly as possible. Since we talked to you last, we have had one Winston Cup event. That was at Charlotte 1 week ago. And now let's take a look at the point standings and see how they have changed. Remaining on top is Dale Earnhardt, but he had a bad race at Charlotte. Morgan Shepherd finished in the top 10 again, and as a result, Morgan is only 21 behind Dale Earnhardt in the battle for the Winston Cup. Mark Martin is 68 behind. Jeff Bodine is 4th in the point standings, and Rusty Wallace, who won the Coca-Cola World 600 last week at Charlotte, has moved to 5th in points. Now, last year at this time, he was 7th in the point standings. However, he has 8 fewer points this year, so don't count Rusty out of the Winston Cup Championship. Well, like Rusty, a few of the teams that were struggling earlier in the year are beginning to find the right combination. Ned, who are some of those teams?
Bob, there's some drivers with the car numbers that have multiples of 3 in them that are doing okay this year and certainly have their act together. At the top of the list is Dale Earnhardt, who has 3 wins so far. He dominated both races here at Dover, Delaware a year ago. Look for him to be tough today. Mark Martin has been very consistent in recent races. He wants to rectify a second-place finish to Earnhardt here a year ago, so look for him to be tough too. But my pick today is the Big Red, number 9, Bill Elliott. He had a solid second-place finish last week at Charlotte. I think he has his act together and will be the man to watch here today. Morgan Shepherd has been the most consistent driver on the circuit this year, the only driver to finish in the top 10 in every race, so look for him. His car owner, Bud Moore's had some wins here before. And Rusty Wallace, of course, coming off that big win last week, he wants to show that that was no fluke. But Benny Parsons, they got a tough racetrack to contend with here today.
The Monster Mile. Even the PR people here call this racetrack tough. It is the Monster Mile. The problem is the racetrack is basically round. The drivers spend no more than 4, probably about 3 seconds going down each straightaway. There is no time to relax, and it's 500 laps. The World 600, it's only 400 laps. 500 laps. You talk about those drivers in multiple of 3, Ned, they'll do great if the Monster doesn't get them.
And a full house has turned out for this event here. They added some seats. All of those are sold out, and so a lot of people on hand here at Dover. And now let's check the Sears Die Hard starting grid. On the pole, his first ever in Winston Cup competition, from Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, to the Phillips 66 Pontiac, Dick Trickle, driving number 66. Outside of that front row will be Mark Martin, last year's pole winner. He's from Batesville, Arkansas, in the number 6 Folgers Ford. Starting in 3rd position is Jeff Bodine from Chemung, New York, in the number 11 Budweiser Ford, the 1986 winner here. In 4th position is Dale Earnhardt from Kannapolis, North Carolina, in the number 3 GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. He won both races here last year. Starting in 5th position is defending Winston Cup champion Rusty Wallace from St. Louis, Missouri, in the number 27 Miller Pontiac. Outside that row is Kyle Petty from Randall, North Carolina, in the Peak Antifreeze Pontiac, car number 42. Starting 7th is Alan Kulwicki from Greenfield, Wisconsin, in the Xerox Antifreeze, car number 7. And then comes Bill Elliott from Dawsonville, Georgia, in the number 9 Coors Ford. Starting in 9th position is Brett Bodine from Chemung, New York, in the number 26 Quaker State Buick. Alongside will be the number 25 Kodiak Chevrolet, driven by Ken Schrader from Fenton, Missouri. Ernie Irvin in car number 4 starts in the 11th position. Alongside him will be Dave Marcus in car number 71, the Big Apple Market Chevrolet. 13th starting position goes to Harry Gant from Taylorsville, North Carolina, the number 33 Skoal Bandit Oldsmobile. Then comes Morgan Shepherd, the number 15 Motorcraft Ford. He's from Conover, North Carolina. Starting 15th is Derek Cope from Spanaway, Washington. Alongside in the 8th row will be Sterling Marlin in car number 94, driving the Sunoco Ultra Oldsmobile. Dale Jarrett starts in 17th position in car number 21, followed by rookie candidate Rob Moroso. And as you look at the remainder of the starting lineup, the field is coming down the main straightaway, and in one more lap will be underway with the Budweiser 500. 500 laps of racing here on this 1-mile track they call the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware. Very, very strong winds are blowing here this afternoon. Let's go to the pit area for a report from one of our 2 pit reporters in the afternoon, Dr. Jerry Punch.
Bob, you know how important confidence is for a driver. Well, after running for Rookie of the Year a year ago, Dick Trickle, who had been accustomed to winning on the short tracks everywhere in this country, had probably lost a little bit of confidence. But then he won the Winston Open at Charlotte 2 weeks ago. Then it almost came close to winning the Busch Series race. He certainly has a lot of confidence, and he proved it by putting his car on the pole today. They are indeed pumped up here in the Phillips 66 pits. As you see, they are pumped up. The numbers are with Dick Trickle. He was a 33rd different Busch pole winner in his 55th start, and he's driving car number 66. It just might happen today. Bob?
There are all kind of numbers and numerology floating around here this afternoon. John Kernan will be our other pit reporter. We will hear from him in just a few moments. Right now, we concentrate on the start of the race. The pace car pulls off. The crowd is on its feet, waving their hats, cheering the field as it comes down, led by Dick Trickle. The green is out and the Budweiser 500 is on. A side-by-side battle for the completion of lap number 1. Who will lead it? Mark Martin by a half car length. Martin and Dick Trickle continue to run wheel to wheel. Meanwhile, second and third position wheel to wheel. Jeff Bodine on the inside and Dale Earnhardt on the outside. Fifth position trailing the first 4 cars, Rusty Wallace. In-car cameras today, we have 3 of them. One of them carried by Dick Trickle, and Dale Earnhardt out of shape as he got bumped a little.
Yes, I think he did get bumped a little bit.
I think he and Dick Trickle both touched each other, and Earnhardt lost a couple of spots. Here we see Rusty Wallace. That's Rusty in the black number 27, trying to get by Jeff Bodine, the red 11.
And Bill Elliott has now moved into that 5th position as he battles alongside of Rusty Wallace. We're watching now from Brett Bodine's Quaker State Buick. Here is a replay, and we'll see where the contact occurred.
We can see Earnhardt in the black car going up on the outside of Dick Trickle. Trickle goes up just a little bit, perhaps not knowing Earnhardt's there, and touches him. Earnhardt has to get off the gas and drive high.
And both Rusty Wallace and Bill Elliott were able to move to the inside and go around Dale Earnhardt. Now Mark Martin stretches out the advantage as Bill Elliott, the guy that you said was going to be tough, Ned, he battles for that 3rd position. Meanwhile, here comes Earnhardt battling back on the outside.
Boy, Earnhardt's a little brave getting up there this early in the race. They had a 200-mile Busch Grand National race here yesterday, so they got some pretty good grooves worked out, so Earnhardt's trying to take advantage of the second groove now.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 here as the leader Mark Martin has pulled away from the rest of the field, and Jeff Bodine is looking for second position, and on the inside of the racetrack, he takes second from Dick Trickle.
Wow.
Several cars look like they're pretty loose out there in the early going.
These guys doesn't seem to realize that this is the monster. Oh, look at Rusty sideways down in the middle of 1 and 2.
Yeah, they're racing like it's the last 10 laps.
Well, maybe they realize that this thing is only going to go maybe 251 miles. The showers that were about 100 miles away from here at 8:30 this morning when we arrived have dissipated. And I think there is a very good possibility that we're going to see a completion of this race, all 500 miles. The sun is shining brightly right now, although we do have a very strong west wind. Dale Earnhardt now moving to the inside as we take a look from Dick Trickle's in-car camera, and Earnhardt goes to 4th.
He wants to get to the front. He wants to lead a lap. He has quite a ways to go, and Bill Elliott trying to move on Jeff Bodine. They might have touched a little bit coming off of turn 4. Elliott driving very aggressively here in the early going.
Well, here in the first 7 laps, we've seen almost as much contact between cars as we would see at North Wilkesboro or Martinsville.
Look, I mean, the cars just get in as sideways as they possibly can.
Denny, the wind is blowing strong out here. Will it affect you that much on the 1 mile track?
I think it will, because it is blowing that strong. Folks, you can see what little hair I had was just about to leave my head up on the roof. It is really blowing. And going down in turn 1 where these cars are, I think the wind wants to blow them back up the racetrack.
Yeah, we're not talking just 20-mile-an-hour winds. We're talking 40-mile-an-hour winds. There goes Mark Martin. He's a leader. There's the interval between first and second. Bill Elliott is second. Third is Jeff Bodine in car number 11. And then comes Dale Earnhardt in the black number 3. And Earnhardt now closes in on Bodine. Things beginning to get sorted out here just a little bit after some real excitement and some paint trading in the early going.
Well, you can see how far Mark Martin pulled ahead while those drivers were battling for position back there. Of course, that battle we're watching there between Bodine and Earnhardt is for third position. Bodine running third, Earnhardt running in fourth position.
Earnhardt's coming, smoking the tires, coming off the fourth corner. He has position on Jeff Bodine and takes the spot going down in turn one.
And so Dale Earnhardt, after losing a couple of positions, has now gone back into third spot. We are live at Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware, the Budweiser 500 Winston Cup race. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Budweiser 500 Winston Cup race from Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware. You're watching third place. There's the leader of the event right now, Mark Martin in car number 6. He started second outside of the front row, but jumped off into the lead as several cars began battling for position. And he is maintaining a fairly comfortable distance on Bill Elliott, but it appears as if Elliott might be closing in on him.
Yes, he is closing in, no question about it. He had about twice that much lead before Elliott got into second place, and he is closing in.
And there is third and fourth, Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine.
Dale Earnhardt's Goodrich Chevrolet going high in the corners, higher than you would think this early in the race. There we're watching the leader, Mark Martin, the Folgers Ford, but ooh, car got a little bit out of shape.
Running back in fifth position is Rusty Wallace. There's the 66 car of Dick Trickle, and he was the pole sitter of this race, but has dropped off just a little bit.
In fact, he's running in 10th place, Bob. He has dropped back pretty far in the field.
That's Ernie Irvin behind Trickle. Then comes Harry Gant and Sterling Marlin. And Ernie Irvin has thoughts of going to the inside of Dick Trickle, but doesn't.
See out the back of Dick Trickle's car, the pack of cars that have come up on him trying to get around.
Let's go to Jerry Punch, who has a comment on the number 66 car of Dick Trickle.
A lot of concern in the Trickle pits, as well as possibly Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt, believe it or not, that the cars are very, very loose here early on. They knew it would be warm yesterday. They expected a much cooler, overcast day today, so the cars are a lot looser than they wanted them to be. One of the reasons Dick Trickle has dropped back so far early on is while we were in commercial break a moment ago, the right side of his car tapped the concrete wall coming out of turn 2. We were told that Trickle has radioed his crew and said, I think it's okay, but let's check it the first time we get a chance to get on pit road.
All right, and look at this now. Bill Elliott has indeed caught the leader, Mark Martin. We may see a battle for position here as the cars come out of the fourth turn and down the straightaway. Bill Elliott trying to take over the lead from Mark Martin at the line. Martin maintains the advantage by about a bumper and is able to do so as both cars have to go high on the racetrack to pass number 70, J.D. McDuffie.
Ned, you're right. Bill Elliott has that Coors Ford hooked up early going this afternoon.
I watched him here in practice yesterday morning and yesterday afternoon after the Busch Grand National race, and it was the most consistent car that I could clock out there. He was just consistently fast all the time. Here's a good battle back in the pack. Well, but for the lead first.
And Elliott has Martin at the line this time, and Elliott goes into the lead. Bill Elliott in the lead. Look at this battle. Ooh, we had some contact there between Michael Waltrip in the yellow and blue car and Dale Jarrett in the 21. That is Dick Trickle in 66 and Sterling Marlin in 94 as Trickle continues to lose positions.
Yeah, all that pack of cars has caught Dick Trickle, and he was holding him up for a little bit. Trickle's car not working too well. Now Michael Waltrip and Dale Jarrett behind him running side by side, each of them looking for a place to go.
While we watch the pole sitter Dick Trickle fall back, we'd like to tell you that Goodyear will donate a check for $1,000 to the Winston Cup Racing Wives Auxiliary in the name of our pole sitter, Dick Trickle, car number 66.
Oh, Dale Jarrett was on the inside of Dick Trickle just a lap or so ago, and Trickle moved down, took away that inside spot, and all the cars were going by on the outside.
Yeah, he got himself in a bad position there. He didn't realize that Trickle was going to move down to the inside and let him by on the outside, so Dale had moved up to about 12th position from his 17th starting position, but now he's lost back most of those positions.
Perry Labonte, the Skoll Oldsmobile, trying to go by on the outside. Rick Wilson behind him, the Dinnerbell Oldsmobile.
Everybody is passing Dick Trickle as obviously he has some problems. That bump of the wall has obviously affected the handling and the running of that car. Here comes the 57 car of Jimmy Spencer now up on the outside.
The thing things that are going through Dick Trickle's mind. He did make pretty hard contact with the wall. He's wondering.
And Dale Earnhardt has a problem in the Goodwrench Chevrolet.
Dale Earnhardt is smoking badly coming out of the fourth corner and well off the pace. There goes Rusty Wallace and several others by Dale Earnhardt, and for the second week in a row, Dale Earnhardt is having problems in a Winston Cup race, and he's going to pull it right into the garage area. Dale Earnhardt, the first car to go back into the garage area, and gentlemen, we may be seeing a new points leader at the conclusion of this event because, as we told you in the opening, Morgan Shepherd is only 21 points behind Dale Earnhardt, and here from the helmet cam is Morgan Shepherd in the Motorcraft Ford.
This is unbelievable. The luck that Earnhardt last week.
Yep.
Cut a right rear tire, it blew, he got in the wall and spent on what, a couple of, maybe 250 laps in the pits working on the car. And today, early on in the race, not 25 laps into the race, looks to have an engine problem. He did go in the garage area. Possibly it's a line or something that came loose. I'm sure the crew will go in and try their best to get the car fixed. But if it's something internal, they cannot fix it.
Well, it's hard to imagine the man that led over 800 of the 1,000 laps that was run on this track last year. Of course, he didn't lead a lap today, was running good, but now in the garage area.
First caution period of the day is out. Dale Earnhardt last week at the Coca-Cola World 600 finished in 30th position. He has won 3 different points-paying races this year.
You know, you wonder if you're at home watching this, well, why wouldn't they change an engine since it is such a long day, 4.5 hours, and they could change an engine, get back out. NASCAR rules dictate you cannot change the engine in the race car. They used to do it. Look at all the cars coming in the pits this early.
An early yellow flag is bringing all of those running up front to the pit area, and Jerry Punch is in the pit of Bill Elliott as he screeches to a stop.
This will be a welcome pit stop for many of the teams who mentioned about how loose the cars were, and the worst one of all was Dick Trickle. But Mark Martin on the bottom of your screen, Elliott on the top, 2 of the strong Fords early on. We would expect to see a 4-tire stop here for Bill Elliott and Mark Martin, the chorus crew coming around the left side of the car. Mike Beam, Ernie Elliott, the crew, looking at the entire pit road. Rusty in the very first pit. Rusty Wallace trying to get up. He's still on the jack. Elliott is down and away. Now Martin is away, and finally Rusty on the jack. He will pull. He'll be the 3rd car back on the track at turn 1. Dick Trickle still in the pit here, working on his car. Now trying to get left side tires on the Kelly Arbor Motorsports Pontiac.
And finally, Dick Trickle begins to move away in the Trop Arctic Phillips 66 Pontiac. You know, at this morning's drivers meeting, NASCAR did announce that 1 extra pit crewman will be allowed over the wall to pick up the right rear tires on pit road today because it is such a narrow and tight pit road here at Dover. So we are under caution for the first time this afternoon because of possible oil on the track from Dale Earnhardt. We'll be right back. We're glad you could join us on this Sunday afternoon for Winston Cup Racing, the Budweiser 500, live from the Monster Mile, Dover Downs International Speedway in Dover, Delaware. In one more lap, we'll go back to green flag conditions. The track crew has checked out the track, and they have found it to be in good racing condition. Now, let's watch the race out of the pits as the guys struggle for track positions.
Bill Elliott, the first car to move. They've changed 4 tires. The first car we saw go by, the red car of Jimmy Spencer, the Heinz Pontiac, only changed a couple of tires or maybe just put some gas in the car. So that's why he, look, and the leader is Harry Gant. You know why?
He didn't pit.
He didn't pit. John Kernan, why not?
Well, Benny, Andy Petrie says that the car is perfect right now. It's running really well. They felt it was too early in the race to pit right now. They figured that track position would be much more important, so they wanted to get the Skull Bandit up front. So they left him out there, and that's exactly where Harry Gant is. And as we all know, Harry runs really well at this track.
As a matter of fact, he performed quite well yesterday in the Budweiser 200 Busch Grand National race. Here comes the green flag as Harry Gant leads them down. That's Jimmy Spencer in second. Then comes Bill Elliott, Mark Martin, and Rusty Wallace. Now, we did have 1 car drop out of the race before Dale Earnhardt. Freddie Crawford, the number 48 James Hilton car, was the first out. But if Dale does not get back into competition, he will finish in 35th position and will leave here with 1,591 points. And that may not be enough to maintain the points battle lead. Gant leads the single file procession down the backstretch. Now Bill Elliott will go to the inside of Jimmy Spencer, but not make a move, trying to take over second spot. Elliott once again looking to the inside of Spencer going into turn one. He moves alongside. Bill can't take the position away.
Bill Elliott hasn't raced that much with Jimmy Spencer. He just doesn't really know what Jimmy's going to do when he gets down the corner. So that's one reason. See, watch Jimmy come down the hill. He does not want to make contact.
And Jerry Punch is with Dale Earnhardt.
Well, Dale Earnhardt has climbed down to the Goodwrench Chevrolet. Dale, what happened?
Well, I think it broke a camshaft. We're going to pull the engine out and pull the back of it off and see what it broke. If it's something we can fix, we're going to fix it. You know, ain't no telling. We could have fixed one at Charlotte a while back last year. We're going to tear into it and see what it is, whether we fix it or not.
Never say die.
We're not going to give up. It's just one of them things in race you can't do anything about. We'll get them back.
Guarantee this crew is going to go to work, and I bet you before we're through 4 hours or so here at Dover, we'll see the Goodwrench Chevrolet back on the track somehow.
We'll certainly keep an eye on that. Look at this tremendous battle for position as now Mark Martin has passed Jimmy Spencer, and Rusty Wallace is on the inside of him as they head for turn number 3.
That second groove working pretty well up there, fellas. Spencer able to hang on to that position. Rusty tries him again now as they go into turn 1. Spencer giving him racing room. Not a whole lot, but he's giving him enough.
They battle side by side down the backstretch. Wallace on the inside and Jimmy Spencer on the outside. Here comes Jeff Bodine to move into it, make it a 3-car race. Now Rusty inches ahead just a little bit in the middle of the corner, but Spencer battles back on the outside as they get onto the straightaway.
Spencer hanging tough.
Rusty Wallace is having trouble with his car early on. The car is wiggling badly through the corners. It just doesn't have that good look that Rusty's car normally does.
Doesn't look like it really cuts in the center of the corner like his car normally does, and as a result, he's not able to get back on the gas as quick as he needs to.
Spencer smokes the tires a little bit coming out of turn number 4. This is 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th position. The first 3 are Harry Gant, Bill Elliott, and Mark Martin. And back in the pack, a good battle here among the number 28 car of Davey Allison. Dale Jarrett is in 21. And the Ken Schrader car, 25. Now Elliott makes a bid for the lead on the inside and takes over the top spot going into turn 1. Look at this battle, though. There's Ricky Rudd now moving in. Also Dick Trickle and Terry Labonte.
Well, Dale Jarrett got caught on the inside when he was trying to pass Trickle a while back. He got caught behind Davey Allison this time when Allison went high and lost another bunch of positions.
Mark Martin trying to get by Harry Gant as well. Goes down in turn 1. Martin has position and takes the second spot away.
So we have a couple of Fords running up front. It's Elliott leading and Mark Martin running in second position as he gestures to Harry Gant, who he just passed. Gant maintaining third spot in the Skull Band at number 33.
Now the gesture that he would tell Harry is thanks. I appreciate you not racing with me because look, he understands, Harry understands it's 500 laps. Let's just get to the 400 lap mark, then we can race.
Elliott beginning to stretch out the advantage a little bit on Mark Martin. The number 15 car of Morgan Shepherd, there he is. He is second in points and could very well walk away with the points lead at the end of this event. Let's ride with him.
That camera is mounted on his helmet. You can see him sort of lean as he goes into the turn.
You can also see how much his head moves around, how much the car goes up and down.
You can see how long you're in the corners here. You're turning just about all the way around.
Well, let's ride with him coming off the 4th corner now. He's still turning the wheel, Now then he can relax. See him sit back and relax? Now see him turn back in the corner. That's all he got to relax.
Only about 4 seconds down the straightaway, or even less than that. So that's a total of 7 or 8 seconds per lap, and you go 500 laps. Woo.
That's one of the reasons they call it the Monster Mile. Now he's working on Hut Strickland in the car number 12. Morgan Shepherd in the Ford number 15.
Morgan Shepherd currently running in 21st position, and as we indicated, he is only 21 points behind points leader Dale Earnhardt. Ned, ask him, have you been thinking about taking over the lead?
Ned, I'm not going to talk about points. We're running consistent, and we just have to be second in the points. I'm trying not to think about it. Quit reminding me.
I know, yeah, but you got to be thinking, man, that championship would be so good.
It would be a dream come true for Morgan Shepherd, and to be with a team like Budmore and be able to bring them into the championship, man, it'd just be great.
Well, you talk about consistency. He has been the epitome of consistency this year. He has been in the top 10 every single race this year, and his worst finish was a 10th at the Daytona 500. He was second at the Atlanta 500. We are live for the Budweiser 500 from Dover Downs, and we'll be right back. Back at Dover Downs International Speedway, the Budweiser 500 is 46 laps old, and the leader is Bill Elliott. Running in second position is Mark Martin.
And running in third place is Harry Gant. Fourth is Rusty Wallace. Jimmy Spencer fifth.
Yeah, I think you're right. Bill Elliott got something going last week in Charlotte. If Rusty Wallace won the race and Bill Elliott was right on his bumper, I think if the roles had been reversed, if Elliott was leading the race, I don't see how Rusty Wallace would ever pass him. The cars were that close.
I agree. The car is just wherever he wants to go on the racetrack, and that's the way he's been in practice here Friday and Saturday.
Meanwhile, Morgan Shepherd continues to move up through the field. He has Terry Labonte just ahead of him. Let's see. He is in 18th position right now. Now, John Kernan, I'm wondering if the fact that Dale Earnhardt has already exited this race has changed the strategy that Morgan Shepherd and team are employing this afternoon.
Well, Bob, let's find out. We'll talk to Crew Chief Donnie Wingo. With Earnhardt sitting back there in the garage area, you're all just 21 points back. Does that change your strategy at all for this race, for the rest of the race?
No, you know, this is a long race. Still a long way to the end right now. The car's just a little bit loose. We're just trying to get caught back up right now. It's still a long way to go. Anything can happen.
Well, they don't seem to be concerned at all right now with the points. They're just trying to get the race car right so they can run for the rest of the 500 left and come home with another top 10 finish, they hope.
Well, if Morgan Shepherd takes the lead in the Winston Cup points this afternoon, it would mark the first time since the spring race at Dover 11 years ago that a Budmore Engineering driver has led in the points. Morgan Shepherd currently running at 18th, and here is our leader, Bill Elliott, as he now begins to lap some of the slower traffic. That's Jimmy Means in car number 52. The number 17 car of Darrell Waltrip is struggling.
Yes, he is, Bob. The car just doesn't seem to be handling the way that he would need for it to get around here at a top speed. He's still out there in the lead lap, but he is back in the 27th position.
And he started 25th, so he has lost 2 spots since the green flag dropped 52 laps ago. Darrell Waltrip, who at this time last year was the Winston Cup points leader.
You know, you talk about the Monster Mile. Running as badly as Darrell is and looking at 500 laps in the face, punishment worse than death almost. It's cruel punishment.
It's a long afternoon when it didn't work, isn't it?
I'm telling you. And they never blow up. You know, the Dale Earnhardt's car was working good. The engine blew up. Walter's car not working that good. The engine would never blow up.
But on the other hand, now they've got 448 more laps to try to get it dialed in, so it could get a little better.
Oh, it could be better.
Yeah, you can bet your bottom dollar when they make those pit stops, they're going to be making adjustments.
First and second there, Bill Elliott on the left and Mark Martin on the right. First and second position. And we'll give you an opportunity now to look for your favorite driver and determine where he is running on the racetrack in relationship to the leader. And we will time the leader as he makes a lap.
There goes Rusty Wallace by.
Jeff Bodine, Ernie Irvin. Kyle Petty,
Rick Wilson, Ricky Rudd, Dale Jarrett, Morgan Shepherd.
Brett Bodine goes by, Quaker State Buick.
Leader headed for turn number 4. There's the king, Richard Petty.
Followed by Davey Allison. Then comes Darrell Walter.
See how far behind they are.
26-second lap for Bill Elliott, and that translates to a speed of about 138.5 miles an hour, and the pole speed was 145. Battle for 6th position between the 11 car of Jeff Bodine and the 10 of Derek Cope, and Cope is running well.
Yes, he is. Driving the Purelator Chevrolet, the Daytona 500. They're about a full turn behind the leader, Bill Elliott, as Cope takes the inside position, but doesn't quite get by that time.
They've been doing this for the last 15 laps.
Oh, really?
Side by side by side, yes. But
Yeah.
Cope has never passed him until just now.
Well, he wanted to wait and get on television.
That's right.
Perseverance does pay off, Derek. I'm proud of you, buddy.
He moves into 6th spot, and Jeff Bodine goes back to 7th.
We have a report. We was on Darrell Waltrip there a little bit ago and talking about his problems. We understand that the chassis is tight on that car, pushing a little bit as he comes off the turns, and they'll try to loosen it up on their pit stops. But Derek Cope's car doesn't seem to be tight. Running good.
Derek had a top 10 finish last week at Charlotte, and there is the guy who finished 2nd last week at Charlotte, Bill Elliott, who is leading the Budweiser 500 over Mark Martin. Mark Martin is maintaining about a 2 or 3 second disadvantage to Bill Elliott, as they have now completed 58 laps of the race. We will be back with more live action of the Budweiser 500 from the Monster Mile, Dover, Delaware. 59 out of 500 laps completed. The Monster Mile at Dover, Delaware has already gobbled up one contender. Dale Earnhardt is out of the race at the moment with apparently a broken cam. We're at the Budweiser 500 for Winston Cup Racing, and we have completed now 63 laps of this event with Bill Elliott leading. And you know, who was your hero growing up, Benny?
Well, as far as racing is concerned, Junior Johnson, Curtis Turner, Joe Weather. Who was your hero growing up?
You were, Benny. I had to say that.
Folks, he set me up. Tell you what, Mark Martin's game don't
Yeah,
go
yes. Bill is caught in a little bit of traffic. There he goes to the inside of Richard Petty, and Mark Martin is right now approaching the bumper. Up ahead, the number 2 car driven by Rick Mast.
And Rick Mast is running in the 25th position. Richard Petty just lapped a moment ago. Well, actually, Rick Mast has moved around to Richard Petty, so now both of them have gone a lap down.
Already a lap down in this race is Darrell Waltrip. Jimmy Spencer continues to run in the top 5. He started 28th, moved to 19th at the end of 20 laps, moved to 4th at the end of 40, and he is in 5th place now at the end of 66 laps. So Jimmy Spencer doing a nice job maintaining his spot.
I thought those fellows had made a mistake, Spencer and Harry Gant, by not changing tires when they made their earlier pit stop. So Harry Gant didn't even make a pit stop, and Spencer just put fuel in the car. You will see Jimmy Spencer lapping Darrell Walter. These cars, there's a reason for them standing out. They have their cars handled very, very well, both Spencer and Harry Gant. Gant's still in 3rd spot. We don't see him on the screen, but Bill Elliott and Mark Martin are not getting away. Here comes Derek Cope. He has caught Jimmy Spencer.
Let's go to John Kernan for a report on tires. John?
Well, you were talking about tires and how it didn't seem to affect Harry Gant that much. What I was told this morning is that with sticker tires on the car, they only run really well for 12 laps, and then they come back and start going away. So he was only, after 12 laps, he wasn't at a disadvantage anymore by staying out there.
Well, he's now run 70 laps on the same set of tires Harry Gant has and Jimmy Spencer, so that it really doesn't seem to be affecting them very much, although here comes Derek Cope closing in, and there is 1st and 2nd once again, Elliott and Martin.
As soon as Bill Elliott dispensed of the traffic, he was able to put up 3 or 4 car lengths on Martin, and there's Harry again. See, not that far behind.
But now, fellas, he'll have a gas stop coming up in another 15 or 20 laps if this thing continues under green.
That's a good point. All the other guys will not have to come in for fuel, but Harry Gant will have to.
But you can see the car is handling well. He's able to stay down on the inside. You can see just how far behind Gant is behind the leader, Bill Elliott.
Freddie Crawford in car number 48 has dropped out of competition and behind the wall, although they're working on it. Dale Earnhardt in car number 3, and also Dave Marcus in car number 71. Jerry, update us on the Earnhardt situation, if you would, please.
As you can see, they are working feverishly here. They have crew underneath the car. They have taken the engine and transmission out, and now they are working up here on the engine on the stand. Even Dale Earnhardt up in the front of the motor here is working to try to get this thing fixed. They have pulled the plug out of the back of the engine, the cam plug. They are trying to work in there and get the cam. Carl and Richard Childress, the crew here, all working to try to get this thing back together. Even Earnhardt himself up trying to work. He wants to win this championship real bad again this year.
That is a great shot, folks.
It is.
Dale Earnhardt working on that engine. And I said before, they can't change the engines. They can't change the cylinder block. They can fix a broken camshaft or even a broken connecting rod. If they could fix it, they have under the rules they can. But the cylinder block must be the same one. There will be a NASCAR official there making sure that they work on that same cylinder block.
There's the leader, Bill Elliott. That was a great shot. Not only Dale Earnhardt getting his hands dirty, but Richard Childress and everybody on the crew trying to get Dale back in competition. Here now is the number 11 car of Jeff Bodine, the 4 of Ernie Irvin, and the 25 of Ken Schrader.
Sterling Marlin was in there, and there's Sterling Marlin behind. Ken Schrader has just passed him in the last couple of laps. It looks like Schrader's trying to go by on the outside of Ernie Irvin. Did he make it? No.
That's ninth position they're battling for there right now.
There's Dick Trickle back there. Oh, we have a spin in turn 2. A spin in turn 2. Michael Waltrip, I believe, is involved, and Alan Kulwicki. Can you believe Alan Kulwicki's luck? He was a victim of circumstances on that situation, because as Michael Waltrip slid down the banking, there was no place for Alan to go.
And you can see both of those cars are banged up. Kulwicki's going to be able to get his back to the pits. This will be a break for Harry Gant, because he had a pit stop coming up in about 10 or 15 laps at the most for gas, so now he'll get to come in during the caution period.
And the right front quarter panel came off.
Alan has some problems because his left front tire is going north, his right front's going south.
The yellow flag is out for the second time this afternoon. Michael Waltrip has spun and had contact with the wall in turn number 2. And here's a replay. Looks like Michael was running all by himself.
Yep, the car at the back end just goes around. Whether a tire went down, don't know. But anyway, he spins her around, and Alan Kulwicki coming up behind gets in the smoke. Can't see. That's a very tough spot of the racetrack over there, Benny. It's a blind spot.
Well, it's a very blind spot, and the smoke.
Yep.
The combination of Michael Waltrip's car being where Alan couldn't see it, the second thing, smoke.
Yellow on lap 77. Now, Alan Kulwicki was one of those that you could have mentioned, Ned, when you're talking about teams getting their act together, because Alan Kulwicki had a top 10 finish last week at Charlotte. He finished 6th. Let's go down to Jerry Punch as Bill Elliott, the leader, comes in for a pit stop.
Bill Elliott brings the Coors forward, the Melling Automotive machine to stop on pit road. Ernie Elliott and Mike Beam go to work on the car. They will work on the right side. Mike Thomas and some of the Coors crew now will change all 4 tires. They're going to change 4 tires here. How about in Harry Gant's pit, John Kearney?
It's also a 4-tire change. The right sides are already on. The left sides are coming off. Harry's already taken a cool drink. They get that tire, the right rear tire out from behind the car, and Harry is down off the track. And Bill Elliott beats him out of the pits, though.
Elliott was out first, followed by Mark Martin and then Harry Gant. And the crew cam on nines. Remember, as they change tires now on the left side of that machine. Quaker State crew reshotting the Buick. And Brett Bodine goes back out in competition. Now that pit stop covered from all angles.
And that's the bumper cam out of the back of Brett Bodine's automobile.
All right, so pit stops during our 3rd caution period of the afternoon on lap number 77. We'll be back with more live coverage of the Budweiser 500. This track fact is brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
Over the past decade, this has been the state-of-the-art helmet available to drivers. Basically a fiberglass outer shell and a polystyrene liner. Fairly comfortable, but it would transmit some force, and it's also open face. This year, the Rolls-Royce of helmets developed, totally different. It may look the same, but it's quite different, obviously. A Kevlar, or carbon fiber outer shell. A bead-all liner, which doesn't transmit force, and for comfort, the drivers have what's called NASA foam, developed by the space program. Basically, it's a memory foam. As you see, I put my fingers in here, and my fingerprints are still there. It will conform to the linings of your face and be very comfortable throughout the afternoon. Also, these helmets are full face to protect the opening of your face here from possible contact with the steering wheel or microphone on a sudden stop. The state-of-the-art helmet developed here by Simpson Safety Products.
Boy, a lot of technology and work has gone into helmets in the past few years, and we've even put a helmet on, or a camera, I should say, on the helmet worn by Morgan Shepherd, driver of the Motorcraft Ford, who currently runs in 12th position as we are just about to go back to green. Now, Benny, you've got a point to make on this most recent series of pit stops. Take a look at this, and Benny, explain what you see.
Well, Rusty Wallace has the premier pick here. That's him, the black car, 5th in line. But he's behind Richard Petty, and Richard Petty is in the middle. See, Rusty almost has to stop and follow Richard Petty before Richard dives into his pit. Bill Elliott, Mark Martin, they're already working on Bill Elliott's car. Watch. Here comes Rusty in. He now stops and they go work on the car. They're done. They're finished with the right side on Bill Elliott's car before Rusty ever gets to his pit. So, a great pit. He can leave his pit in a rush, but he's having trouble getting in.
And that's another reason why races can be won and lost in the pit area. Big A Auto Parts pit stop performance shows that the number 9 car of Bill Elliott took a total of 36.6 seconds. The crew, the best performance of the one we checked, 21.6 seconds. It took the driver 15 seconds to slow down and speed up. On the other hand, Mark Martin in car number 6 was the best among the drivers, speeding up and slowing down at 34.8. Now, look at Rusty Wallace. It took him 14.3 seconds to slow down and speed up, and the pit crew 25.2 for a total of 39.5, and he had the worst pit stop among those 4.
Well, that's right. But Rusty's pit is at the end of pit row, so he doesn't have to move to leave. You know, they stop the stopwatch as soon as he moves, practically. Now, up at this tire, you see the tire there? That's where the pit stops, the timing starts. Okay, now that's where they push the clock to time that. Now, you see the white line down at the end? That's where they push the clock to stop it. But Rusty Wallace is in that first pit, so as soon as he moves, he's across the white line.
Yep.
And of course, the crew time is the time that the car is actually stopped on the pit road. As soon as it rolls to a stop, and then as soon as it hits the ground, that's when the clock is started and stopped.
And of course, the total time minus the crew time then gives you the driver time, and that's why we think it's important to show you the difference between the driver and the crew and how that relates to the overall performance during a pit stop. Well, let's see, we going back green this time?
Yep, they're doubled up, so evidently we're going back green. Darrell Waltrip a lap down in the Tide Chevrolet down on the inside of Bill Elliott. We'll try to get a jump on him. Davey Allison there, he's a lap down too, so is Richard Petty.
Lap number 83 is completed, and here comes the field down for a restart. Bill Elliott has the lead with Mark Martin second, followed by Harry Gant, Rusty Wallace, then Kyle Petty and Jeff Bodine as they head for turn 1 and 2. Davey Allison being lapped on the inside of the racetrack. Thundering herd moving down the straightaway.
Darrell Waltrip was not able to get back in the lead lap as he stays to the inside of the track. Let's Harry Gant go by. Gant running in third as he was before the caution came out. Now Davey Allison trying to move on the outside of Darrell Waltrip. That's for position, but it's for like the 21st or 22nd position.
And of course, Davey Allison, the former winner of this race back in 1987. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Alan Kulwicki.
Well, the Z-Race crew is still working on the Ford behind us. Alan, how bad is it? Can you get it fixed?
Well, I'm sure we'll probably get back out there, but it messed the whole front end of the car up.
What actually happened?
Well, Mike Waltrip spun coming off the second turn. I saw him spinning, and I was waving my hand to slow down. I was on the brakes, and his car was way up there, and I was going to go under him. car came down off the bank, and I was committed. I had nowhere to go, and I just hit him.
We'll let you work on the car, but we'll show they're also working on the Michael Waltrip car back over here to my left in the back part of the garage area. So they are working to try to get him out as well.
Michael Waltrip, the winner of yesterday's Busch Grand National race here at Dover. We do have the number 26 car of Brett Bodine seems to be slowing indeed, and smoke is coming from the car. He's signaling to the drivers behind him. He's headed for pit road, and it could be an early out for Brett.
And in front of him, you can see the blue car there is Dave Marcus going down pit road as well. Dave had a good 12th place qualifying run here in the big aftermarket car, and the Quaker State Buick of Brett Bodine comes to the attention of your crew.
Look, we can see the fender knocked in on the tire right there. The left front fender is in on the tire. That's why they're trying to get a screwdriver bar in there to knock it out. What a great shot from the crew cam. They can see the fender.
John Kernan is right there.
Well, also not just the left front fender, but also the right rear. They were pulling it up, and it looks like he's killed the motor right now. Now he's finally got it respired, and he's on the way, but he's lost some valuable time here in the pits.
Yeah, he lost one lap, John, and the leaders are coming down. He'll probably go 2 laps down before he can get his speed up.
So the smoke that we saw coming from the Quaker State Buick was not from any engine problem, but rather some sheet metal rubbing against the tires. By the way, driving car number 8 now, the Bobby Killen car, is Jim Sauter. Bobby did break his shoulder blade at Charlotte last week in a crash, and so relief driver Jim Sauter is in the Snickers car number 8. Here now is Bill Elliott lapping again Brett Bodine in the number 26 car, and the number 6 car of Mark Martin is in second position. Now stand by for another one of our field snapshots to give you an indication of where your favorite driver is running in this race and his relationship to the leader of the event. Here comes Elliott out of corner number 4 onto the main straightaway, and we'll start the clock and time this lap.
Well, there's some heavy traffic.
Including Ernie Irvin and Ricky Rudd and Dale Jarrett.
Darrell Waltrip was in that group.
The winner. There's J.D. McDuffie going down the front straightaway.
The Rumpel Furniture Pontiac.
Quite a bit of empty racetrack here. That's the 85 car driven by Bobby Gerhardt. And here comes the leader once again at 25.9, so it's just a tick of a watch faster than the last time we did it.
Has newer tires on now than it did when we clocked him before, and that will let him run a little bit faster.
That's the in-car shot. The green 26, Brett Bodine, the Quaker State Buick. We're looking from inside his automobile, 2 laps down. Just a moment ago when some sheet metal was knocked in on the left front tire.
The winner of North Wilkesboro, the North Wilkesboro 400 we televised for you earlier this spring, Brett Bodine. We'll be back with more of our live coverage in just a moment of the Budweiser 500. Up front, we have a battle for the lead. Mark Martin is going for the lead on the inside of the racetrack. They cross the line dead even. Let's see how they sort out going to turn number 1. Mark Martin on the inside, Bill Elliott on the outside. Both continue to battle wheel to wheel, side by side, out of the second corner and down the backstretch, and Harry Gant is catching these two.
Yeah, when they're running side by side, that makes them run a little slower, so it lets Harry Gant catch up. Elliott's car goes a little high coming off of turn 4, and Martin gets up on the inside once again, but he still can't quite make the pass.
Look how close Harry Gant now is on Mark Martin. Those are your first 3 cars right there, Elliott, Martin, and Harry Gant. Mark Martin trying to look for the opportunity to go by Bill Elliott once again. Now, while those two were battling there, does that help Harry?
And trouble over in turn 2. Rick Wilson, it looks like, has spun into the wall.
A lot of smoke on the backstretch, not giving us a very clear view of what happened. I believe that everybody is still rolling, however.
Except that one car.
Except the one car.
Rick Wilson, it looks like he's fired that car up and is moving now.
Car number 98, I believe, Butch Miller was involved, or at least he was down on the inside of the track, but he came on around, and here is Wilson coming on around as well.
He doesn't look too badly damaged.
And, I heard something. It sounded like a tire blew.
And it happened in the same area of the racetrack as Michael Waltrip. But again, he was running by himself.
Yes, he was, up there on the outside, and around he goes.
I'm sure a tire blew because we see all that smoke. I don't think Rick hit the brakes. I think he nailed the throttle trying to make the car make a 360. And he wouldn't do that.
The tire could have blown after he spun, or it could have gone down to cause him to spin.
Boy, look at all those cars coming up on this crash scene with very limited, if any, visibility. More pit stops are being made as Rick Wilson nurses his car back to the garage area. It is Bill Elliott making a pit stop. Here's Jerry.
And Chorus Crew once again will take advantage of the yellow flag. We'll see almost everybody changing 4 tires. Our tire wear has not really been a problem here since Goodyear came out with this tire about a year ago, and they have been getting excellent tire wear here. Left side tires now going in the Coors Ford. Let's check in the Harry Gant pit with John Curtis.
Harry Gant came in and took on right side tires. They were going to put on sticker tires, but they decided to go with the scuff and just change the outside tires. So he is in and out in a hurry.
Good quick pit stops by both Bill Elliott and Harry Gant. The 75 car of Rick Wilson did not go to the garage area, and I don't think it hit anything. They're just changing the tires on it on pit road, and Rick Wilson is going to be back in this race shortly.
Well, I tell you what, now they're changing, it looks like they're changing the track bar on the 17 car. That's the rear stabilizer bar. And if they move that up and down, that could change the chassis on the automobile. And that looks like what they're doing on Darrell's car.
We had a report earlier that the car was tight, so they would be
moving it up.
Let's take a look at the incident back there off of turn 2 from the in car, and the car just ahead is the one that will get in trouble. That's Rick Wilson, the yellow number 75.
Well, the back end gets loose and just goes around sort of lazily like there for a moment.
Wow, we just missed him with this car. Let me speculate what happened on this. They have put some tar down in the cracks on the racetrack, up in the corners where the pavement is cracked. They put some tar down. It looks like that Rick Wilson got the right rear in some of that tar, and it's just like hitting ice when that happens. And there's nothing you can do about it. It looks like what happened to Michael Waltrip earlier, is that he got the right rear in some of that tar, and again, it's absolutely like hitting ice.
Yeah, you can see the color variation there on the pavement showing those cracks that they have tried to seal. Kyle Petty, car number 42, will be the leader of the race as Brett Bodine has a lot of work going on in his Quaker State Buick. And Jerry Punch, bring us up to date.
Well, they are likewise changing the track bar in the rear of the Quaker State car for Bodine, the Kenny Bernstein-owned machine. Of course, Bodine, who had that unscheduled pit stop earlier for a tire rubbing and lost a lap, and now sitting here in the pits as the field goes by, he will lose yet another lap as the crew tries to change the track bar here in the right rear car of Brett Bodine. We are early on here in the Budweiser 500 in Dover, Delaware. Bill Elliott has been showing the way. We are still under caution here currently. Kyle Petty the leader. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Dover, Delaware. The Budweiser 500 live on this Sunday afternoon. We're glad you could be with us. Next Sunday afternoon we'll be in Sonoma, California, Sears Point International Raceway. Looking forward to that. We're about to go back to green now on the 104th lap of this 500 lapper here with Kyle Petty in the lead. Petty first, followed by Mark Martin. Then comes Jimmy Spencer, Harry Gant, Dale Jarrett, 15 car of Morgan Shepherd, Ernie Irvin, Bill Elliott, Rusty Wallace, and Sterling Marlin.
Now we understand that Kyle only took fuel, so did Dale Jarrett and Morgan Shepherd. They wanted to get some good track position.
Morgan Shepherd up to 6th position. Once again, we remind you, if you're just joining us, that Dale Earnhardt is already out of the race. At least he is behind the wall. They're trying to repair that car. Apparently a broken camshaft has put him behind there. So he is losing valuable points. Here is Mark Martin taking the lead from Kyle Petty and doing it rather easily.
Going on the outside, move right around.
The 43 car there of Richard Petty, he has a relief driver standing by also. Larry Pearson may step into that car later this afternoon.
Jimmy Spencer in the 4th car drove in awfully hard in the corner, wiggled just a tick when he got to the middle of the corner.
He's actually in 3rd place in the race. Richard Petty is 1 lap down. So Harry Gant is in 4th place. Right behind him is Dale Jarrett in the Citgo Ford. He's in 5th place. Morgan Shepherd is 6th. 7th is Ernie Irvin. 8th is Bill Elliott. 9th is Rusty Wallace. And in 10th place is Sterling Marlin.
And 11th would be Derry Cope, then Ken Schrader, Jeff Bodine. The number 12 car of Hut Strickland is shown 14th. 15th is Dick Trickle. Rusty Wallace back in 9th position. And again, we made the point earlier, but Rusty is not in all that bad a shape. And he had a rather disappointing pit stop last time, as we showed you. Our Big A Auto Parts performance on Rusty's most recent stop. 13.9 for the driver to slow down and speed up, but it took the crew 23.6 seconds to make the necessary tires and fuel. So he came into the pits in 4th position. However, he dropped clear back to 9th, but he is moving back up.
What happened? Rusty changed 4 tires. Some of the cars in front of him only took on fuel. Some of them just fuel. Some of them just changed 2 tires. So that's one reason he lost 4 or 5 spots. But those 4 tires, he looks like he's moving pretty good now.
Wow, look at this side-by-side action. It is Ernie Irvin in car number 4 battling alongside of Jimmy Spencer. That's Bill Elliott on the inside of Dale Jarrett. And Morgan Shepherd watching from behind. So is Rusty Wallace and Sterling Marlin and Derry Cope. Here's the helmet cam on Morgan Shepherd. Dale Jarrett just ahead of the Citgo Ford. Wood Brothers winning his team here at Dover.
Looks like Bill Elliott up in front's on the move. He's on the inside of the 57 car, goes by Jimmy Spencer.
Let's go to Jerry Punch with an explanation of that most recent pit stop by Rusty Wallace.
Well, the normally speedy Blue Max crew did have a problem, which we didn't exactly pick up as we were up calling the Bill Elliott pit stop. When they were changing the right side tires and coming around, crew chief Barry Dodson, who's also the jack man, caught his finger in the jack, producing a pretty serious tear, laceration. Now, Dodson has been taken to the infield care center to be worked on here, but it created about a 3 or 4 second delay for the pit crew, so that's the reason Rusty was on the pit road for so long.
All right, good explanation.
I can't believe Barry let a cut finger get in the way of a good pit stop.
It must be a pretty severe cut.
He must have cut it off.
Morgan Shepherd and Dale Jarrett now battling side by side out of turn 4. Rusty Wallace right behind. There's Ken Schrader also, Sterling Marlin, and of course the red and white car is Derry Cope.
I got to tell you, in Darlington, South Carolina, back in the early 70s, Travis Carter was changing crew chief on my car, changed the tire. He cut his finger off on a stop and went ahead and changed the tire.
Oh my God.
Wow, what a battle we have going here.
We do have a good battle for position here.
Rusty, all of a sudden, Rusty just is going backwards.
Yep. He's passed by Derry Cope, and Sterling Marlin is about to. Something must have happened there to the Rusty Wallace car.
Either that or he just can't get up in the groove where he wants to run.
Yeah, he might have lost the position that he wanted.
Look at this up front. Ooh, this isn't up front, but it's at the head of this group. Richard Petty on the outside. He is a lap car, but everybody else is on the lead lap, including Spencer and the 21 car of Dale Jarrett.
Hey, Ned, that's like that Hollywood traffic, Hollywood freeway traffic we were on this week, huh?
That's the truth. It reminds you of the same thing, the way they jockey for positions out there in California. We'll be going back to Northern California next week. Now Richard Petty and Dale Jarrett gets caught behind Richard Petty, and the train's going to go by.
We went out there, of course, for the movie Days of Thunder, and I tell you, talk about the Beverly Hillbillies, the 3 of us. That would have made a better movie than Days of
now wait a minute. Let's get Jerry Punch in this deal, too, because
Yeah, he was with
just
us.
as much of a hillbilly as we were.
We were out there on Rodeo Drive.
That's right.
Rodeo. Let's get it straight for those people in California.
Well, I tell you, there's more traffic than we saw on the LA freeways and on Rodeo Drive. This is Morgan Shepherd's view of what is happening in front of him. Dale Jarrett and Richard Petty and many others.
Dale finally gets by Richard. Now Morgan goes by.
3 abreast into
Wow.
turn 3. How is this going to sort out?
Well, had to give. Fortunately, it was Jimmy Spencer.
Yeah.
And he's not normally one to back off, but he was a smart guy that time.
Oh, look at Derry Cope.
Smoke those tires. Cope got the car a little bit sideways, smoked that right rear tire, and here comes Schrader on the outside.
Boy, Derek is really feeling his oats. That car obviously is performing well, and he has hopes of making his perhaps best finish since his win at Daytona. Ken Schrader battling alongside with him in the Kodiak Chevrolet number 25. And Harry Gant has moved alongside Kyle Petty, and this is the battle for second spot, and Harry Gant has it.
I tell you what, the leader, that maroon car in front of Harry Gant, is the leader, Mark Martin. He just isn't that far away.
He is not, it seems, pulling away from the field. It's Harry Gant able to keep him well within sight. Now back to this battle again. Here's Sterling Marlin moving to the inside of Jimmy Spencer.
You just seesaw back and forth. They go into the turn a little bit harder, but then they have to back off. The car on the outside can come back up. There's Morgan Shepherd and Dale Jarrett right behind them running side by side. A lot of good racing all over the track.
Spencer and Sterling Marlin. Well, we've settled down here just a little bit, so let's get in a commercial break if we could. While we are now completing 120 laps, the leader is Mark Martin here at the Budweiser 500 in Dover, Delaware. 500 at Dover, Delaware. It's Harry Gant in car number 33 who has taken over the top spot from Mark Martin. Kyle Petty continues to run in third position, but now Harry Gant is at the front of the pack, and here's how he got the lead.
Just coming off the second corner, got alongside of Mark Martin and drove by.
Boy, did he get a bite coming off of that corner with that Oldsmobile. He just put his foot to the floorboard and motored right on by.
And an incident between Morgan Shepherd and Dale Jarrett. That was a close call. That happened at exactly the same time that Harry Gant was taking the lead, and Morgan lost a couple of positions.
And Rusty gained a couple of positions. Rusty Wallace went by both of them on that incident.
Well, both those cars, Morgan Shepherd and Dale Jarrett, did a great job because they could have lost, either of them could have lost the car with ease.
Again, Morgan Shepherd has so much going for him in this race with Dale Earnhardt behind the wall. They're trying to repair that car and get it back in the race. If Morgan can pull off a good finish, he could be a new leader in the Winston Cup points. Only 21 behind Dale Earnhardt going into this event.
And I don't think Morgan Shepherd has ever led the Winston Cup point standings. In fact,
right.
his second position is the highest he has ever been, and he has maintained that for quite a while.
Hey, let's don't forget about Mark Martin, because if something were to happen to Shepherd, he would probably take the Winston Cup point lead. And remember back in Richmond this spring when he was fined 46 points?
He's 47 behind, or rather 68 behind Dale Earnhardt right now, so that is a very important factor.
Harry Gant in the Oldsmobile that just took the lead a moment ago had a great run going in Charlotte last week. And here comes Kyle Petty for second spot, takes the spot away. Looks like Mark Martin's car is backing up just a tick, Ned.
Yeah, the car doesn't seem to be getting the bite off of the corner that he was a little bit earlier. He's having to sort of soft pedal the thing coming off the turns. He's definitely not handling like he was earlier.
So now it's Kyle Petty second, and third is Mark Martin. And there is the number 4 car of Ernie Irvin, and he is in fourth position. So Ernie having a good run.
There we can see the cars. Ernie, Bill Elliott behind, just went across the start-finish line.
Ernie Irvin from Modesto, California in the Kodak Film Oldsmobile. Fourth position. There's leader Harry Gant once again.
Boy, that car is working well. And as we have already established, he likes this racetrack. He runs it well. He has a good line around the track. Just keeps motoring on.
You can see the first 4. There isn't very much racetrack between them. Here comes Ernie. Seems to be catching Mark Martin for third position. We're going to set up our shot again that gives you a chance to look for your favorite driver. Here comes the leader, Harry Gant, out of the fourth corner, crossing the line. We'll start the clock once again.
Ernie Irvin, Bill Elliott. There comes Ken Schrader, Sterling Marlin.
Jimmy Spencer, Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett, Morgan Shepherd, Dick Trickle.
There goes the Snickers candy bar car driven by Jim Sauter now. Bobby Hillen broke his shoulder last week. There's Rick Wilson going by.
There's Jimmy Horton.
Here comes Harry.
And there's Harry at 26.4. So that's a little bit slower than what we had the Bill Elliott timed at earlier.
Well, the tires have heated up once again. It's a difference in when we time them. If they've just come out of the pits, say 10 laps before or something, then they're going to run faster. Then they settle down to a little bit slower speed.
Ernie Irvan in 4th position. There's the leader. Then Kyle Petty. Then 3rd place, Mark Martin. And 4th is Ernie Irvan. He's looking for his first Winston Cup win. Do you thinking about winning all the time now when you're out there, Ernie?
Oh, most definitely. You know, we got everything we need to win, and we're just lacking just that little bit at the end of the race. So, you know, we got a car capable of winning, and I'm learning everything it takes to win, I think. And as long as I can keep doing the job I'm doing, and they keep putting this kind of car under me, I think we're going to win one soon.
His best finish is here with an Atlanta, where he finished 3rd and took over this ride. But now we see Derek Cope in car number 10 challenging Bill Elliott in number 9 for position. This is for 5th.
Boy, it's interesting how we have seen Bill Elliott and Mark Martin were dominant in the first 100 laps or so of this race. Now, the drivers that were not up there, they were running good, but not up there battling for the lead, passing those cars.
Boy, you got to be really impressed with Derek Cope's run.
Maybe that Daytona 500 wasn't a fluke after all, huh, Bob, as some people said.
Well, he finished, what, 5th last week at Charlotte in the 600, so he had a good run there.
And he's smoking the tires out there in passing and taking up positions. Look at this. Look at him smoke that right front.
He is driving that car. Coming off the 4th corner, he wanted to do it in front of the grandstands where all the people could see him.
I'm sure he's going to have a lot of fans next weekend come down to Sears Point and watch him in that Winston Cup race out on the West Coast. He's, of course, from Spanaway, Washington. There's the leader, Harry Gant, as he laps J.D. McDuffie in car number 70. And not too far behind is Kyle Petty in car number 42. The 57 and 27 cars are battling for position. That's Jimmy Spencer and Rusty Wallace.
Pair of Pontiacs.
This is for 9th.
They probably told Rusty in the pits, look, take it easy on those tires because we don't want to change them anymore. We don't have a jack man, so we might have to run them the rest of the day, so just take it easy on them.
Wallace looking inside of Jimmy Spencer. And Rusty on the lower side of the racetrack, inches ahead just a little, but fighting back on the outside is Spencer, wiggling just a little coming off the corner. Great battle and side by side behind Rusty and Jimmy. That is Dick Trickle, our pole sitter, and Dale Jarrett in car number 21. This is 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Esty just hasn't been able to make that pass.
Can't seem to get around Jimmy Spencer. And Harry Gant falls off the pace. Harry Gant is headed for pit road.
Wow, this is unbelievable.
John Kernan reports from Harry's pit.
Harry has just radioed in to Andy Petrie and the crew, and he believes that coil wire might have gone bad. They're bringing him in. The motor just shut off on him, and he coasted in, and the whistles go up as they go underneath to look. Harry speculated that something wrong with the ignition with the coil wire, and that's exactly where they're going to look right now.
So while leading, Harry Gant comes into the pits, and they raise the hood on that car and try to determine what caused the engine to just quit. You can see the clock ticking. There's 26 seconds, and that is equal to a lap here at Dover. And so Harry Gant, who was the leader, now goes more than a lap down. And there goes the leader, Kyle Petty, by him.
What a tough race. The car was just running effortlessly, it looked like, just to go anywhere on the racetrack you wanted to go, and the engine was running good, and then it just quit.
Petty beginning to move through some slower traffic. That's Jimmy Means in car number 52, and just ahead Rick Wilson, who was one of our spinners early in the day, but did not make contact with anything and is continuing in competition. So Kyle Petty in the Peak Performance Pontiac number 42 is the leader here at the Monster Mile, Dover, Delaware. We'll be right back. The fastest car on the track, just maybe at this point, is Derek Cope in car number 10.
The guy is absolutely flying. He just went by Mark Martin like he was a post out there. So there, look what a lead he has on Mark Martin. And he just passed him about a lap ago.
Derek Cope is in 2nd position right now, behind our leader, Kyle Petty. let's go to John Curtin for the report on Harry Gant.
A very disappointing finish to what looked to be a promising day for Harry Gant. The Skull Bandit broken camshaft, so he's had to take it back to the garage area, and he'll not be back out today. So a disappointing end for what looked to be a very promising day for Harry Gant.
So that's the second problem we've had with the camshaft this afternoon, and now I believe Jerry is with Harry Gant.
Indeed we are, Bob. And Harry, the car, we just heard that the camshaft has gone away in the car. The car was really working well for you.
Yeah, the Skull Oldsmobile was just perfect today. You know, I was just running hard enough to pace myself and checking out Elliott and Martin and, you know, running where it wouldn't wear the tires out. We learned a lot yesterday in the Busch race, and everything was just working perfect for us. I can't believe it happened.
What is it about this track that tends to eat camshafts? You and Earnhardt?
Yeah, I don't know. There's several cars broken them the last 2 weeks.
The Monster Mile strikes again.
For those of you, again, just joining us, not only is Harry Gant out with a camshaft problem, but Dale Earnhardt is behind the wall. That crew, however, is trying to get Dale back into the race so that he can pick up at least a few more Winston Cup points and keep him on the Winston Cup points lead. Now, there's the interval between first and second, Kyle Petty and Derek Cope. It's less than 2 seconds. Derek Cope finished 8th in the fall race here at Dover last year, and he finished 28th in this race, the Budweiser 500. Now Kyle Petty has Davey Allison just ahead of him, trying to put Davey another lap down.
Well, Davey's car just hasn't been up to par here today. He's narrowing that gap
Yes,
a little
he
more.
is. Yep, 1/10 of a second was shaved off that lap, so Derek Cope is indeed shaving it off. And here is Jimmy Spencer in the pits. Another car that was in the top 10. John, what's the story down there?
Jimmy Spencer's got some kind of a motor problem. He's radioed in. He says he cannot turn more than 6,700 RPM. So that's the reason he is falling back out there on the racetrack. And that's it's now fitted down for me, and they've got the hood up on the car.
All right, John mentioned the number 6,700 RPM. What would be normal here?
Normal would be about 8,000 RPMs at the end of the straightaway. So 1,300 RPMs. It sounds like he's lost a cylinder, dropped a valve, and the valve is rolling around in the engine, killing other cylinders as it rolls around inside the engine.
Now, as he was giving that report, Alan Kowicki came back out onto the racetrack in the Z-Rex Ford. Alan, of course, many laps down as a result of being involved in an accident with Michael Waltrip. But Kowicki out there trying to get as many points as he can.
Watching Derek Cope close in on the leader, Kyle Petty. That's Davey Allison between the two. Cope, the 31-year-old driver from Spanaway, Washington.
There's a 4-car Ernie Irvin third place, and 6-car Mark Martin goes by. That's the 8-car Jim Sauter. There's Mark Martin in the car 6, Folgers Ford.
Currently running in 4th position after leading the race not too long ago. Ernie Irvin there in 3rd. And then Martin. Let's go to Jerry Punch with a continuing story on this Barry Dodson situation.
Well, Barry is back out of the infield care center, and we'll take a look at this thumb and it's been bandaged and put back together. Barry, what actually happened?
I got it hung up in the jack on the right side of 4-tire change. I couldn't get it out, so I just had to pull it out, and it's kind of mashed it flat right now. They gave me some stuff for it. It's supposed to kill the pain, but it's not working. I don't know if I can jack the car. I'm gonna try. If we can't do it, we got Kenny Wilson from Michael Waltrip's team, and he's gonna back me up.
Never say die here in Winston Cup Racing.
Not only for the drivers, but also the crew chiefs. Never say die. They hang in there as long as they can.
I guess that's why he had a 24-something second pit stop. Barry had his thumb under the jack.
That will explain that.
You'll have to get him some goodies to kill that pain.
Rusty Wallace currently running in 9th position. Miller Genuine Draft, number 27. And Dave Marcus in car number 71, slow on the racetrack.
Smoking badly down in turn 1.
He has been black flagged, we understand, by the NASCAR officials. So Dave Marcus, who had a very respectable starting position in this race,
started in 12th place,
is smoking badly in that aluminum. Meanwhile, look at Derek Cope. He's caught Kyle Petty.
This is incredible how well Cope is getting this Purolator Chevrolet around the racetrack. He's on the inside of Kyle Petty.
He could get the lead here going into turn number 3. He pulls alongside Kyle. Oh, look at that car work on the inside. Unbelievable. It is Derek Cope taking the lead. The Budweiser 500. That's the first time that he has led a Winston Cup race since that last lap at Daytona, the one that he needed to lead to win.
I tell you, a good handling race car on this track is so important, and that Purolator Chevrolet, Buddy Parrott and the crew have her set up good, and he is driving the wheels off of it.
So Kyle Petty falls back to second position. Kyle would like to win this race for many reasons.
And Bill Elliott coming into the pits. Is this an unscheduled pit stop, Jerry Punch?
Yes, it is. Apparently, Bill felt a vibration and was concerned about possibly having a tire going down. So he's going to check all the tires. He brings the car down pit road. The crew has scampered over and will check the left side tires. He hopes it can change. It looks like the right front tire was flat. As Dan Elliott has pulled the tire off and looked at it, it looked like the tire was going down. He has changed right side tires. He is down and away.
13.5-second pit stop for Bill Elliott as he goes back out onto the racetrack.
But he goes a lap down, Bob.
So Bill Elliott now a lap down, and here is the leader, Derek Cope. He's beginning to pull away just a little bit from second place, Kyle Petty. We'll be back. Back at Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware, where Derek Cope has taken over the lead, and we have a car smoking badly in the second corner. That would be Rob Moroso, car number 20. So he's going to be coming into the pits. We'll watch to see if there is a yellow flag displayed by NASCAR. Rob gets the car to the inside, the apron of the racetrack, and no yellow apparently. So,
and boy, there's some drivers that would like to have seen a yellow flag right now, but apparently he got it down off of the track, maybe not putting any oil out on the track, so green flag racing continues.
Rob Moroso was in 16th position, the last car on the lead lap, when the problem developed on that Crown Oldsmobile. So Rob Moroso stops in his pit, and they'll go to work on that to see what happened. Now, we do have a correction we would like to make. We always like to correct any errors that we make, and we told you a few minutes ago that that was the first time that Derek has led since Daytona. That is not correct. He led last week at Charlotte, and he finished ninth. And John Kernan is with the crew chief on this team, Buddy Parrott.
I tell you, Bob, I wish you could have seen these guys celebrating a while ago when he took the lead. It almost looked like you were celebrating the victory. You got to be feeling pretty good, even though it is early in the race.
Well, I really do. This Hendricks motor in this car today is really doing great. I just like to say for all you Chevrolet fans out there that there is somebody else in the Chevrolet besides Dale Earnhardt. I got a guy that's coming this way, and I'd like to say thanks to Bob Wickham up in Keene, New Hampshire today. And this Purolator Chevrolet is really doing great today. Big Crew's doing also.
Buddy Parrott, a lot of confidence in his driver. In fact, earlier this year, after Derek had won the Daytona 500, Buddy paid him one of the highest compliments I've ever heard the crew chief pay their driver. He said he looked like he drove like a young Darrell Waltrip.
Well, he is definitely showing the way here today, and the 25 car of Ken Schrader is on the move. It's now into 5th position, and make that 4th position, and Mark Martin in number 6 is back to 5th.
Mark Martin been losing some positions in the last few laps, as you said, back to 5th spot. Folks, you notice John Kernan talking to Buddy Parrott, how he had to just get right in his ear. It's noisy on pit road. That's the noise that you're hearing, is those cars going by. I've worked down there a couple of times, and you barely can hear it.
We'll just give you an idea of how noisy it is. That's the pit mic. Those guys in the pit area not only have to endure the weather conditions and the heat and the humidity at some times and rain at some times, although we don't have that problem yet today, but they also got to contend with a serious noise problem at some tracks, including here at Dover. Ken Schrader now in 4th in car 25, and Mark Martin in car number 6 is 5th. And they're passing the 75 car of Rick Wilson. We'll do a field snapshot for you again coming up this lap as Derek Cope comes out of the 4th corner.
Now, Bob, as fans look at their favorite driver come by as Derek Cope crosses the start-finish line, there are 15 cars in the lead lap. Of course, Derek Cope the leader. In second place is Kyle Petty. Third is Ernie Irvin. Fourth now is Ken Schrader. In fifth place is Mark Martin. Sixth is Sterling Marlin. Seventh, Dick Trickle. Eighth, Rusty Wallace. Morgan Shepherd is ninth. Dale Jarrett is 10th. Jeff Bodine is 11th. 12th is Hut Strickland. 13th, Ricky Rudd. And 14th is the car number 1 of Terry Labonte.
And those cars are on the lead lap. And the interval that you saw there on our clock was between first and second. About a 2.7 second lead for Derek Cope over Kyle Petty. Let's do a visit to the pit area now with Jerry Punch and an update on how those guys down there in the Childress pit doing. Jerry?
Well, you wonder how Winston Cup championships are won. Take a look behind me. Earnhardt and the crew still working here. They have not let up one bit. They have replaced the camshaft. They're just replacing the bell housing on the back of the motor. Cecil Gordon and the crew. Earnhardt is literally in there trying to work over the area of the distributor to be able to put a gasket back. They put the intake back on the car. They are hoping to have this thing back on the track within the next 30 to 40 laps. They are hustling here to try to get every single Winston Cup point they can.
I thought I saw David Smith say, "We'll be back," and I think they will. They're working very hard to get that engine repaired and the car back in the race, so we'll keep an eye on the Dale Earnhardt situation, who has been there for many, many laps. We'll be back right after these messages from Dover, Delaware. Welcome back to Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware, the Monster Mile. We're live today for coverage of the Budweiser 500 Winston Cup race. And you get an idea of how strong the wind is blowing here from the west, but it's certainly not affecting the car of Derek Cope, the Purolator Chevrolet, leading the way here at Dover. With 181 laps completed, Kyle Petty running in second position. Then comes the number 4 car driven by Ernie Irvin. Let's get down to Jerry Punch, who has another update on pit road.
Well, we've updated Earnhardt here in the garage, Jerry. We should update a lot of work going on by a lot of crews. It's still early in the season, and behind me, what's left of Michael Altrup's Country Time Maxwell House Pontiac. They have put this car together with about 500 miles of duct tape, 200 mile per hour tape. Bill Engel and the crew have really been working, the Bahari Racing crew, and Michael Waltrip has climbed back in the car, is getting suited up, and ready to go back on the racetrack here momentarily.
All right, so we'll watch for Michael Waltrip to go back into the race, and Sterling Marlin is in the pits.
Yeah, I think green flag pit stops are about to happen, and this is the first of the front runners. That was a pretty long pit stop for Sterling Marlin, about 18 seconds according to my stopwatch. Sterling was running in the 6th position when he came into the pits.
There's Derek Cope, the leader. While you're watching him lead the race, we'll tell you that last week Dale Earnhardt lost 138 laps in the pits. He has already been in so far a little over 160 so far today. And there's the average speed, 118.8, a little bit off the track record, which is 124.7. This race in 1971, by the way, was run caution-free, and Bobby Allison won it. We have had 3 caution periods so far today.
Morgan Shepherd is in the pits, the man who could be the point leader after this race. We look at his in-car camera as the Bud Moore crew go to work, changing the right side tires on the Motorcraft Ford. He gets the windshield clean.
He was running in 9th position when he came in, waiting patiently for the jack to go down. There it does, and Morgan Shepherd roars back into competition. And just before Morgan came in, there's a shot from the helmet cam. Just before he came in, we saw Derek Cope lap the number 1 car of Terry Labonte, so now there are 13 cars on the lead lap.
And now that Morgan has come in, and Sterling Marlin, they both lost a lap. Terry Labonte is in the pits now, so really we're down to 12 cars in the lead lap. And green flag pit stops coming up. Derek Cope might be coming in before too long.
Well, that's what all these fellows are hoping for. Bill Elliott, Sterling Marlin, they're hoping that there's no caution flag until at least the leader, Derek Cope, and all the other cars have to make their pit stop, and then let there be a caution flag.
Certainly would be a decided advantage for anybody who can pit under yellow, but right now the green flag remains out, and Ernie Irvin comes in. He was in 3rd position, and the 25 car of Ken Schrader is also in for a pit stop.
Schrader's in for a right side tire. They check the left side tires, they appear okay. Spray a little water on the radiator to cool it down. Schrader is away. Ernie Irvin also gets away in the pit next door. So not a bad pit stop at all for Ken Schrader. Now Derek Cope's crew is getting ready for him to come down pit road.
Mark Martin is in for a pit stop. We still don't see Derek Cope. He's in turn 4 and will stay out another lap. And Mark Martin is in for a stop at the far end of pit road.
Dale Jarrett, Hutch Strickland, Ricky Rudd all made pit stops.
Four tires on Mark Martin's car. What in the world are they doing changing 4 at this stage of the race on the green flag? Quite a gamble on Steve Neal's part.
That took a long time for Mark Martin to get 4 tires on that car. Sort of an unorthodox move here. Here is Jeff Bodine moving down in the Budweiser 4, number 11. Tim Brewer and the crew go to work on this car now. Tire change on the right side coming up. They're putting the fuel in it.
Jeff was running in the, well, he had moved up to about 9th before he came out of the pits. He was running much before that. Good pit stop for Jeff Bodine.
13.1. Dick Trickle is in now as we watch from his in-car camera. He was our pole sitter for the race, but has not been on the pace in this event. He was in 7th position when he came in, and Kyle Petty now comes in for a stop, and Kyle was a 2nd place car. Jerry Punch is right there.
You got to believe that Gary Nelson had his car dialed in very well. Remember, they did not change tires at all the last time they did it. Fuel only. That's how they got up front to begin with. That track position is so important here. They have changed right side tires, giving Kyle a cold drink, trying to get every drop of fuel in, and the Pete Pontiac is down and away in 15.6 seconds.
Well, there were faster pit stops during this series than his, but not bad. Rusty Wallace is getting set to move back out there. He goes to the Virginia with Brad Pontiac. Rusty was 8th before this series of pit stops, and Barry Dotson was on the jack that time. The leader, Derek Cope, shows no sign of
He's out of fuel. He's out of gas.
Unbelievable.
Ran too long. That's going to cost him, fellas. He ran out just as he crossed the start-finish line. He's going to have to coast all the way around the racetrack. A very costly gamble by these guys running him out of gas.
Boy, I tell you, that car was going so fast, but now it is limping to pit road, and I'm telling you, it is really going slowly through the 3rd and 4th corners as the crew is trying to ask Derek on the radio what happened, and Derek can only say the car is out of fuel. Here it comes off the 4th corner.
Now, if this was at Pocono, Pennsylvania, he wouldn't be able to get back. But a 1-mile track here, he is able to get back to the pits, but it cost him a long time. Let's go to the pits and John Kernan.
Derek Cope comes into the pit silently, the motor off. They're checking the left side tires, putting 2 on 2 cans of fuel, spray a little ether into the carburetor and gets it fired. Now it dies again. Gonna have to spray some more in there. Now Derek goes 14, 15, the clock ticking, 17. Now he finally gets it fired. It shuts off again. They're gonna have to push him down pit road, try to get the motor refired. A costly gamble, as you said, cost the leader of the race some valuable time.
Well, it shows 26.2 seconds on our clock, but it was a lot slower than that and much more costly in terms of track position and positions.
We'll be able to find out fairly soon, but I would say he's probably lost at least 2 laps in the other cars.
Lead goes back to Kyle Petty in 42. There you can see that Michael Waltrip in car number 30 has returned to the racetrack, as Jerry Punch told us a few minutes ago that he would. 2nd place is Ernie Irvin right there in car number 4, and then Ken Schrader. We'll be back with more live action from the Budweiser 500. Back at Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware, where Kyle Petty is leading the Budweiser 500 with Ernie Irvin right on his tail in car number 4 and Ken Schrader shown in 3rd position. Now, Derek Cope, despite all the problems that he had in the pit area and running out of fuel on the racetrack, remains on the lead lap. So Derek Cope did not lose a lap. Of course, everybody is making green flag pit stops, and here is a replay of this stop, and it was pretty complicated.
It was complicated. The car is out of fuel. It won't start. Now they push it off to try to use the transmission to start it. And fortunately, the car did catch and go, probably in 3rd gear. Here, look, a race for the lead.
Ernie Irvin on the inside of Kyle Petty trying to take over the lead at the line. It is Petty by a bumper. They head for the first turn, and Ernie trying to take over this. Oh, Ernie a little bit out of shape going into turn number 1, and Ken Schrader is right there watching all of this activity. Boy, Irvin drives that car hard, doesn't he?
He does drive it hard, just as hard as he possibly can. But I tell you what, there's 3 guys there that drive awfully hard. Schrader trying to get on the inside of Ernie for second spot.
First, second, and third, right there. Irvin a little bit out of shape again there in the first turn. Well, you know, this isn't the longest race. Last week, the World 600, Coca-Cola World 600 was. Our question of the week, is this race as tough as the World 600?
600 miles at Charlotte's easier by a long ways.
You run it basically the same. You're just on a little bit shorter racetrack, and the thing that you have to be careful about is if you're kind of waiting is not to get lapped. Just keep the leaders in sight and wait for the last 150 or 100 miles.
This is a much tougher race physically and mentally for the driver.
I don't think there is any comparison. We'd rather run 600, I think, much more than to come in this thing, and it's like running in a soup bowl. You got to stay out of trouble. It's hard on the pit crew. It's hard on every nut and bolt on the car.
It's just one continuous circle. You come up off the turns and you're straight away for about 4 seconds or so, it seems like. You just take a little bit of deep breath and then just slam right down in the next turn. And it's a lot more demanding than 600 miles in Charlotte.
We don't do anything different. We try to cross the finish line first.
Well, this is like running 700 miles in Charlotte.
Well, we said this wasn't the longest race. It isn't in terms of miles, but it is or could be in terms of length of time. This race normally goes 4 hours or more. Ernie Irvin continues to pursue Kyle Petty.
They sort of sprung out there a little bit after that little flurry of activity they had there earlier when Ernie was trying to take the lead, and the car number 25 of Ken Schrader was trying to pass the 4 car, but they sort of straightened themselves out and decided just to go ahead and...
Michael Waltrip was the reason for our second caution period of the day. That happened on lap 78, but the 30 car of Michael Waltrip is back in competition with a lot more duct tape on it than they had earlier.
Looks like he used a roll or 2 on that little deal.
14 cars remain on the lead lap. There is the leader, Kyle Petty, Ernie Irvin and Ken Schrader, followed by Dick Trickle and Bill Elliott, then Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, Morgan Shepherd, and Derek Cope. Derek Cope is in 10th position. He did not lose a lap.
See, he was a lap ahead of the field when he came in for his pit stop, even when he ran out of gas. So he coasted around, and he just lost a lot of track position out there. He went from first to back to 11th, and he has moved around Dale Jarrett since then and moved into 10th position.
And we'll give you the field rundown after 210 laps. And you can see there that Dick Trickle is currently in 4th position. Now, should he win this event, the Unocal bonus money is worth $22,800. He was the pole sitter of this event, out-qualifying Mark Martin by a little more than 1 mile an hour.
As we look at the top 15 in the field, and fans, they saw Bill Elliott's name up there in the top 5. He's running 5th right now. He said, well, he went a lap down when he made a green flag pit stop. Well, yeah, but everybody else has made a green flag pit stop, but Elliott will have a stop coming up before the others, so he's out of sequence as far as those pit stops are concerned.
Here are the cars out of the race. Bob Rosso, Bobby Gerhardt, and Mike Potter. Also Dave Marcus, and don't forget those behind the wall is the only one, as a matter of fact, is Dale Earnhardt.
You know, we saw these fellows racing like crazy a little bit ago for the lead. It's almost like the crew called from the pits on the radios and said, hey guys, there's still 300 laps to go. What in the world are you trying to do? Let's just calm down and ride for a while. And it looks like that's what we're doing.
I guess that when somebody pulls alongside of you, you'd have the natural tendency to race them, don't you?
Exactly what happens.
The 94 car of Sterling Marlin, the 26 car of Brett Bodine is a lap car, but the 27 of Rusty Wallace, he is on the same lap as Sterling Marlin, and here comes Mark Martin. So those 3 cars are contending for position.
Sterling Marlin is 6th, Rusty Wallace 7th, and the 6th car, Mark Martin, is 8th. Martin, after he ran so well earlier on, just doesn't seem to have it now. I guess that's why they changed 4 tires earlier on, trying to keep the stagger or get the stagger the way they wanted it rather than take a chance and change the right sides.
And he stayed on the lead lap, so those 4 new tires could have improved the handling of the car. Meanwhile, Ernie Irvan continues to pursue Kyle Petty, as Irvan now is just about a car length behind, looking for the opportunity to pass Kyle. So some drivers that we really didn't expect to see up front are running up front today. Petty and Ernie Irvan and Ken Schrader.
Here comes Ernie again on the inside. No, decides to pull back in behind Kyle.
Rusty made his pass of Sterling Marlin, so Rusty Wallace picks up another spot. Back to the leaders meanwhile.
And here comes Schrader again.
Schrader closing in on Ernie Irvan. Really tightening it up here, coming off the 4th corner. Irvan looking inside. Pulls in behind Kyle once again, and Schrader looks to the outside of Ernie. So good competition going on here at the Budweiser 500. 216 laps have been completed. Back right after these messages. Back at Dover, where Kyle Petty leads, and Richard Petty is now stepping out of the car, and Larry Pearson is getting in. Richard Petty is getting out of the car. We speculated earlier that he might, and Larry Pearson get in, and at lap number 220, Richard Petty does get out of the STP Pontiac.
Well, of course, they had hoped to make this change during a caution period, but we've had a long green flag run now, and so I guess he just had to go ahead and make it during the green flag.
Yeah, our last yellow was on lap 100. That's when Rick Wilson spun over there in turn number 2, and we're on lap 221 right now, so it has been a long time since the yellow was out. He's had green flag pit stops, of course, and now Kyle Petty is attempting to put Terry Labonte a lap down again. Labonte running 14th.
Now we saw here Dick Trickle trying to move into 3rd place around the car number 25 of Ken Schrader. So Trickle on the move. Boy, he must have had a tremendous pit stop. He was running about 7th before they made the green flag pit stops. Now he finds himself in 3rd place. I was about to say that we saw Terry Labonte go a lap down to Derek Cope. But when Cope had his problems, then that put Terry back in the lead lap.
Right. And there he goes a lap down again. Kyle Petty passes Terry Labonte in car number 1, and there goes Ernie Irvan to the inside of Terry also to lap him. So yeah, Dick Trickle, after falling back at the start of this race, has really come on strong here in the last few laps.
It looks like that the cars that started the race that were loose, the racetrack is coming to them. The cars that started the race perfect are too tight now. And the 2 cars that come to mind is Bill Elliott and Mark Martin. They had tremendous speed earlier on. Right now, they're drifting to the back.
Trickle now closing in on Ernie Irvan for 2nd position. Here comes Schrader passing Terry Labonte. There's the Unical bonus money of $22,800 available to Dick Trickle should he win this race, and he pulls right up on the back bumper of Ernie Irvan. Now goes to the inside.
Irvan's car goes up a little bit coming off of turn 2, and that gave Trickle the opening he needed. He just motors right on back.
Dick Trickle moves into 2nd position. Trickle is 2nd. Irvan back to 3rd. Now Dick Trickle sets his sights on the leader, Kyle Petty. And that's the interval between the two, not that much.
It's just amazing how close these cars are. Here's 4 cars that are running within, what, 40 or 50 yards of each other after 225 miles.
Look at how Trickle is moving in on Kyle. This looks like Derek Cope a few laps ago.
It sure does.
The number 8 car, normally driven by Bobby Hillin on the left side of your screen, is being driven by Jim Sauter in relief of Bobby.
Now there are only 13 cars on the lead lap, and that car number 8 you were talking about is 2 laps down in 17th position.
About to go 3 down.
Trickle moves up, quick slip on the inside.
Phillips 66 in-car camera with some great shots. Dick Trickle trying to take over the lead from Kyle Petty.
Trickle working that steering wheel. You don't realize inside the race cars that you turn the wheel as much as you do, but these in-car cameras show you plainly just how difficult it is. Here's a face cam.
This is a great shot. I love this. Now watch him work the wheel.
Looks like the steering wheel's bigger than he is, doesn't it? From that angle.
At one time during the season, I referred to that as the Ralph Cramden cam because it reminded me of Ralph Cramden driving the bus. Now here comes Trickle. He's going to challenge Kyle on the inside in the fourth corner. He's got Rick Wilson right in front of him.
Rick moves out of the way.
Battle for the lead going into turn one. Dick Trickle is going to pass Kyle Petty and take over the top position.
Couple of Pontiacs.
Well, Dick Trickle led one lap, the first lap, and hasn't led since until now. And of course, won't be charged with the official lap until he crosses the line, the scoring line down in turn number 4. And he has, so Dick Trickle is the official leader of the Budweiser 500 from Dover Downs International Speedway. We'll be right back. Stop number 11 on the NASCAR Winston Cup Trail for 1990. The Budweiser 500 from Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware. Currently being led by Dick Trickle at the end of 236 laps. Second place, Kyle Petty. Third place, Ernie Irvin. Fourth is Ken Schrader. And fifth is the defending Winston Cup champion, Rusty Wallace, who won last week at Charlotte.
Trickle got the lead. He just pulled away from Kyle Petty. What, 15, 20 car lengths already, Bob?
Yeah, he's really putting some racetrack between himself and Kyle. Now approaching Darrell Waltrip again.
And there's Jeff Bodine just up ahead of him. Jeff running in 13th position, the last car on the lead lap.
You know, Jeff Bodine started this race in third position, and most wins here at Dover had come from third position, but I don't think that's the way it's going to work out this afternoon for Jeff Bodine.
Well, he'll have to get the Budweiser Ford running faster than it is now.
Morgan Shepherd, who could take over the Winston Cup points lead this afternoon, is currently running in 9th position. And there it is from the helmet cam. Morgan Shepherd, again, we remind you, if you're just joining us at 2 o'clock Eastern time, Dale Earnhardt completed 22 laps of this race before falling out with a broken cam. They are trying to repair the car, but it is not yet back on the racetrack. And now we're at lap 238. And here is the battle for third position. 25, Ken Schrader, and number 4, Ernie Irvin.
Schrader has passed Ernie just in the last lap or two to take over that third spot. Ernie trying to get it back, but Schrader pulls away.
The number 30 car of Michael Waltrip, a very badly damaged race car after a crash in turn number 2, but he is still back out there on the racetrack, and he himself is gaining valuable Winston Cup points. There's Michael Waltrip, car 30, the winner of yesterday's Busch Grand National race here at Dover. Beating Harry Gant, by the way, who has dropped out of this race already, also with a broken cam.
And it looks like Rusty Wallace might have slowed going into turn 1. Bill Elliott just moved around him. Maybe Rusty just pulled over and let Elliott go. But
watch that situation as Dick Trickle continues to lead over Kyle Petty. There's
that
the
car is slow.
Yep, I think
slowed
you're right. Let's go to John Kernan for a report.
Well, we heard Rusty talk earlier on the radio talking about he thinks he has a tire problem. And that's the problem, and he will try and pit for 4 tires because he's not really sure which tire might be going down.
Well, he is definitely falling off the pace, that's for sure. There goes Mark Martin around in car 6. So Rusty,
he was up to fifth.
Here he comes. Here he comes. And a very quick entrance on the pit road as Rusty Wallace comes down, and the crew will be checking over that car. Jerry Punch, I believe you can see this stop.
Rusty brings the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac to a halt. The crew goes to work on the right side of the car. It'll clean the windshield. Jimmy May car, John and Barry Dodson and crew now will change right side tires. Around the left side, they will also make a left side tire change. All 4 tires being changed in the Rusty Wallace crew. An unscheduled stop for Rusty Wallace, a tough break. Also another tough break for Richard Petty. We mentioned a minute ago, he had climbed down and hit STP Pontiac, and Larry Pearson has gone on board. I just spoke to Richard a minute ago. He's on his way to the infield care center. Apparently what happened, the cool suit quit working, and he also wears a special mask to filter carbon monoxide in the car. That quit working. He said, I couldn't breathe, and it had to be about 200 degrees in the car, so I had to climb out.
All right, so Larry Pearson is behind the wheel of the 43 STP Pontiac, and the number 30 Country Time Maxwell House Pontiac of Michael Waltrip has come in for a pit stop.
Of course, he is many laps down. Michael had a good top 5 finish at Talladega and Winston 500, and then again last week finishing 4th in the Coca-Cola 600.
And there goes Michael Waltrip back out onto the racetrack. And the leader at the halfway point is Dick Trickle. The 25 car of Ken Schrader has taken over second place from Kyle Petty.
Now Petty looks like he wants to retake it, but can't quite do it that time. Boy, these drivers would like a caution so they can get on some left side tires on these cars.
If it continues green, we're certainly going to see some 4-tire stops the next time when these cars come in.
Indeed we are. It's 251 laps completed now, with Dick Trickle showing the way in the Budweiser 500 in the battle for second position between Kyle Petty and Ken Schrader. And Petty has it back. So Kyle Petty retakes second position and puts Ken Schrader back to third. We hope you're enjoying this afternoon's live coverage of our Winston Cup race here on the East Coast. We'll be back right after these messages. Back at Dover Downs, where Dick Trickle leads the Budweiser 500 with 255 laps completed, and Trickle holding that car right on the low side of the racetrack.
Tell you what, this car is really working well. Looks like Dick Trickle and Doug Williams have found a combination here at Dover that works magnificent. Look how low he stays right on the line. The rest of the car is drifting up.
That's what he did when he qualified and set fast time. Had the car hooked up to run right on the bottom of the racetrack.
In the early going, the car was a little loose, I believe it was, and they've made some adjustments on it. It really got her working good now.
Looking out the back class.
Just past the Rick NASCAR, the Prego Pontiac.
Now let's take a look at the Western Auto point standings for Mechanic of the Year. Our recap shows that Dick Trickle led 30 of the 260 laps at an average speed of 122.566. 6 leaders and 13 lead changes, 3 caution periods, a total of only 18 laps. 10 cars on the lead lap at the moment. The lap leaders have been Dick Trickle, Mark Martin, Bill Elliott, Harry Gant, Kyle Petty, and Derek Cope.
And Morgan Shepherd is in the pits as we watch the
out of the race shows Freddie Crawford, Harry Gant, Jimmy Spencer, Rob Moroso, and Bobby Gerhart. We're watching Morgan Shepherd's pit stop upper right. Mike Potter and Dave Marcus also out of competition. And the Mechanic of the Year now, the point standings are led by Robin Pemberton on the Mark Martin car. Second position is Tim Brewer on Jeff Bodine's car. Gary Nelson is third in the point standings on Kyle Petty's machine. Jeff Hammond is fourth on Darrell Waltrip, and Tony Glover, the chief mechanic on the number 4 car of Ernie Irvin, is in 5th position in the point standings. And there goes Morgan Shepherd out of the pits. And we mentioned the green flag pit stops. That's the first.
And he did take on 4 tires, as Benny Parsons speculated. And we'll see others coming in, I think, within the next 10 laps.
That was an awfully quick pit stop because Bill Elliott made an unscheduled stop for right side just a few laps ahead. So he's still hasn't pitted again. Jerry Punch, what's going on down there?
Well, actually, that was an unscheduled stop for Morgan Shepherd, according to Bud Moore. They could run about 12 more laps, but they decided to go ahead and come in. Morgan had a right front tire going down, so it really didn't hurt him that much. They came in and just went ahead and changed all 4 tires. We would expect to see Dick Trickle coming in about 12 to 15 laps would be their regularly scheduled pit stop.
I can imagine that several drivers learned from the situation that Derek Cope ran into last time and will not take any chances running out of fuel.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to speculate too close. Now, they've run enough laps, put enough gas in them here today that they know what kind of gas mileage they're getting. So there really should not be an excuse for anyone running out of gas from here on.
Before we have the scheduled pit stops, we're going to give you another field snapshot. Again, get ready to watch for your favorite driver and his relationship to the leader of the event. We'll freeze our camera as the cars come off of corner number 4. But wait a second. Oh, there he goes. Dale Earnhardt goes back in competition on lap 263. He lost 22, he drove 22 laps at the beginning of the race before dropping out, so he goes into the event 240 laps down.
I can't believe they changed the camshaft in 240 laps. That's unbelievable.
It's probably, what, a couple hours?
Yep.
About 2 hours is what
Just
it
about.
It's amazing.
And I tell you what, the fans, as he went by, as Earnhardt drove by the front grandstands, they gave him an ovation that he would not have received had he won the race, probably.
That's probably true.
Man, what?
Well, you got to give the Richard Childress crew and Dale Earnhardt all the credit in the world for just working as hard as they possibly could to get back in competition.
The 5th place car is in the pit. Sterling Marlin, the Sunoco Oldsmobile, change the right side tires. Let's see. Yes, they are going around to change the left side too. As Benny said, most of them will take on 4 tires. It's been a long time since they put left side tires on these cars.
Yeah, it sure
Other than
has.
Mark Martin, he did change 4 tires when he made his other green flag pit stop.
But everybody else chose just right sides during their most recent pit stop. Now, the 94 car, Sterling Marlin, goes back out onto the racetrack. We understand that 3 drivers are currently being treated in the infield care center for heat exhaustion. They're okay. They're just getting their breath back. They are J.D. McDuffie, Richard Petty, and Bobby Gerhardt. There's the leader.
Look at Earnhardt go.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not just stroking around trying to run a few laps. He's really running that Goodrich Chevrolet.
Dale Earnhardt came back out onto the track and was just ahead of Dick Trickle, and he is staying there. Now let's go down to Jerry Punch.
One of the drivers that was ailing today is Bobby Hillin, and Bobby had to climb out of the sticker car. Bobby, you broke your right shoulder in Charlotte?
Yeah, my shoulder didn't bother me too bad, but the way the banking comes off into the corners and out of the corners, it's really treacherous, and you gotta be able to steer your car just perfectly. I was favoring his shoulder so much that I couldn't come off the corner or go into the corner like I wanted to. I just felt like it'd be better off to put the car and let it get a good finish.
Bobby Hillin having to take a week off here at Dover, Delaware. He will try to get back at Sears Point. Meanwhile, Kyle Petty is in the pits for a 4-tire change from the Savco crew. The Peak Pontiac getting in the pits for that 4-tire change. And they have got in service. He is down and away back to turn 1.
And Ernie Irvin has also been in for a pit stop, and he too comes back out onto the back onto the racetrack rather, just a few car lengths behind Kyle Petty. There is Ernie, staying below that white line in the first and second turns, getting back up to speed. Here comes Ernie now on the backstretch. He was running in 4th position when he came in for that stop.
Evidently, Ernie had some problems getting in or out of the pits, or it was a long stop because the 94 car of Sterling Marlin, as you saw past him.
Benny, I think he had problems coming out of the pits. He was still slow going into the 3rd turn, and he finally got it going. We understand that Dick Trickle might be coming in the next 3 or 4 laps.
We'll watch for that. We're in Dick Trickle's car, the Phillips 66 in-car camera.
Terry Labonte is in the pits, doing 4 tires on his Oldsmobile. He's only 1 lap down.
There's the Dick Trickle crew waiting on him whenever he chooses to come in. And there is the face cam. We're watching Dick.
Sticking that hand out the window, getting himself a little bit of air going down the straightaway because, folks, it is hot.
Yeah,
hot in these cars.
And it's also very humid outside. I think that's one of the contributing factors to this whole thing. It's very hot, and the sun isn't shining right now. It's kind of cloudy, but nevertheless, it is very hot and humid here this afternoon.
Take heart, Dick. You only got 225 laps to go.
Got it half whipped, a little over.
I tell you what, he would not appreciate my humor if he could hear me. Oh, look at him slow down. Dick Trickle is slowing down.
Yeah, now Terry Labonte just came out of the pits with 4 tires. Naturally, that would make him run faster. I think that's the difference, Benny, is the fact that Terry Labonte just came out of the pits and with 4 new tires just motored on around to him. made it look like Trickle was slowing down.
Let's see if Dick comes in. Nope. Staying out there.
The Schrader's pulled up. The white car right behind him is Ken Schrader.
Dale Jarrett is in the pits in the Citgo Ford, the Wood brothers. Well, I don't know. I would think I would be a little hesitant if I were Trickle to push it.
Well, if a caution flag was to come out and they put all these competitors a lap down to him, so they want to stay out there just as long as they can.
It's a chance you got to take. Meanwhile, Ken Schrader is definitely closing in on Trickle.
They don't look excited like they're going to be making a pit stop anytime soon.
They really don't.
Now, one thing about it, fellas, those drivers that have made green flag pit stops are out there running faster than these cars. So if that caution don't come, they're going to be able to pick up a lot on these guys.
Looking out back now, Trickle's car back to Ken Schrader, running in second position. Schrader, I think, is going to take the lead here.
Trickle down. He does pull up. Now, he does slow down this time. Please tell me I ain't going crazy.
No, I think he slowed down that time.
For once, I'll agree with their statement, Benny. You're not going crazy.
Would he be out of fuel, man? I don't know.
I don't know. I think he's coming in.
Yeah, I do too, Ned. Right behind the 70 car, J.D. McDuffie.
Which is being driven now by Mike Potter.
Yes. Here comes Dick. Jerry Punch will report on the pit stop of the guy that was leading, Dick Trickle.
Well, the Cal Yarborough Motorsport crew awaiting the lead car. The pole sitter here, Dick Trickle, the top option car coming to a rest. Pat Broyle, Doug Williams, and crew now will change all 4 tires. They have already taken the lugs off the left front. Leaders in turn 3 now. We'll watch Trickle's crew now. Tries to hustle. Move around to the left side of the car. You hear Dick Trickle in the background revving the motor up. Here comes Kenny Schrader. He will take the lead as he goes by toward turn 1. Trickle now getting left side tires. The jack. No, not yet. Now the jack gets dropped in. The car back in gear. 25.6 seconds. He is down and away.
Not bad, but it looked like Dick was just a little late getting out.
He was, because Mark Martin is right in front of him. And here comes Schrader in the pits, our leader.
John Kernan will report on this pit stop by Ken Schrader.
The Kodiak crew awaits Ken Schrader's arrival in the pits. Kenny will go with a 4-tire change. Ducks in, the jack goes up, and they get the right side of the car up. Already the lug nuts off of the left front tire. The right side tire is going on, cleaning the windshield. Windshield here can be quite a problem late today. A lot of stuff from the track gets onto the windshield and makes it hard to see out of it. Now they're coming around to the left side of the car, getting on the left side tires. There was a minor chassis adjustment. Left sides are going on. Unicom gasoline and Schrader 27.4, not the greatest of pit stops.
Ken Schrader headed for turn number 1, and Dick Trickle just went by.
And I think
now
Derek Cope has taken the lead.
Yep.
He is yet to stop.
Cope's coming in. Cope looks like he's slowing down this time, maybe coming in the pits. Yes, he is.
Good call. Benny and John Kernan will again report on this stop by Derek Cope.
Derek Cope's crew not willingly leaving out there a long time like they did last time to take the chance. Now they'll go around to the right side. This will be a 4-tire change, as the right side tires are already off. They're going on. Buddy Parrott and crew are doing a good job putting off the front of the radiators. You can see some debris on the front of that rubber. They come around to the left side, getting the left sides off, putting the left sides on. 2 cans of fuel. Cope sitting in the car with a stern on his face and gives away 20.9 seconds of incredible pit stop for Derek Cope, and that will make up some ground on the racetrack for sure.
Those guys did a great job changing the tires and fueling that car. A good stop by the Buddy Parrott-led team, and Derek Cope is back out on the track.
Well, that'll make up some ground.
Sure will. They did a fine job.
They're trying to make amends for that last little deal. They cost them about a half a lap.
The 27 car of Rusty Wallace is the leader of the race. He is, remember, out of sequence now with everybody else on pit stop. So Rusty Wallace is the leader at the moment with 282 laps completed. We're at the Budweiser 500 Winston Cup race at the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware. We'll be right back. ESPN Speed World today at Dover, Delaware in the Monster Mile for the Budweiser 500 Winston Cup race. Tremendous crowd on hand here watching Rusty Wallace in car number 27, the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac, lead this race at the moment, with Kyle Petty running in second position, Bill Elliott third, and the 94 car of Sterling Marlin running in fourth position. Now, the 25 car of Ken Schrader. Benny?
Bob, when he made a pit stop just a little bit ago, watch this. He's coming down pit road. He makes his stop. The fellow with the board that stops the car, Frank Edwards, goes over, grabs a water hose. Now, he's squirting water in the grill of that car into the radiator. He's still, all during the pit stop for 25 seconds, he squirted water in that grill, which tells me that maybe Ken Schrader has an overheating problem. So we posed that problem to John Kernan. He's down in the Schrader pits. John, what are they telling you?
Well, it's just a minor overheating problem. Kenny's radioed in, said the car running about 220 degrees. Talked to Rick Hendrick, the car owner, who's also acting as the crew chief while Richard Broom recuperates from back surgery. And Rick says it's not a serious problem. They should be okay. He's not really sure exactly what is causing the overheating problem, though.
Okay, so a minor overheating problem is on the 25 car, and he has taken over the 7th position from Ernie Irvin. Ernie Irvin is back to 8th. There are 10 cars on the lead lap. The serial right now has Rusty Wallace in the lead, Kyle Petty running in second position. Third is Bill Elliott, fourth is Sterling Marlin, and fifth is Mark Martin. Sixth is Dick Trickle, seventh is Schrader, eighth is Irvin, ninth is Morgan Shepherd, and in 10th position is Derek Cope. Those cars on the lead lap. 11th position a lap down is number 12. That, of course, would be Hut Strickland, and in 12th position a lap down is Dale Jarrett.
Thought for a moment there that Jarrett had lost a cylinder. Maybe he slowed for a couple of laps, but now he seems to be back up to speed. We'll have to watch him and see what
Once again, our shot giving you an opportunity to see where your favorite driver is running in relation to Rusty Wallace, who crosses the line. You can see the interval he has on Kyle Petty. Rusty won last weekend's Coca-Cola World 600 at Charlotte. His first victory of 1990. Giving the crew some renewed enthusiasm, but as we told you in the open of the show, he is not that far off the pace that he was last year. At this time last year, Rusty Wallace was 7th in points. This year, he is 5th. He does have 8 fewer points this year than he did last year, but still not out of successfully defending his Winston Cup championship. Well, we haven't talked too much about Bill Elliott recently, or Sterling Marlin for that matter. This is 3rd and 4th position.
Now, Elliott is off sequence as far as the pit stops are concerned, but still running very good out on the racetrack.
Marlin appears, though, is reeling him in just a little bit.
Marlin stopped a little bit earlier than the other leaders. You couldn't say that he's off sequence. He and Morgan Shepherd and a couple of them came in a little bit earlier than Dick Trickle and Ken Schrader.
You know, folks, we talk about how hot it is on in the race cars, and 3 drivers already been to the infield care center to get some oxygen, to get some relief. I'm sitting up in an air-conditioned booth, so really and truly, I make jokes about it. But it's hard to really understand, remember exactly how hot it is. But I do remember one thing: I would not want to be out there today. I feel nice, comfortable. This air conditioner's blowing down my neck. I'm doing good.
Yeah, it's very comfortable where we are, but it indeed is hot and humid here in Dover, and we do see some clouds building up a little bit to the west, but I don't think we're going to be threatened by any shower activity during the running of this race. Well, you remember last year what Benny Parsons' hat of the week was? Well, the hat of the week this year is at the absolute other end of the spectrum.
Last year at Dover, I did the hat of the week from the cockpit of a C-5 airplane, one of the world's most sophisticated aircraft. This year, I decided I'd go on the other side of the spectrum. How about a horse and buggy? You know, there's a religious sect in this United States called the Amish. This is their mode of transportation, horse and buggy. And since there's about 2,500 Amish close by, I decided this would be the place to do it. The Stoltzfus brothers of Hartville, Ohio sent me the hat, and it's going to Charlotte, North Carolina, where next weekend The North Carolina Volunteer Association is going to have a state annual convention. Ruby Fraley called and asked for a hat. Oh, Robert, easy, boy, easy. Ruby Fraley called for a hat for a door prize. Ruby, glad to oblige. Right now, I got to do something with this horse.
Benny, you controlled 650 horsepower and you couldn't control one.
It's a lot easier because you're working with your feet, not with your hands.
Hey, here's a guy that's trying to keep the fumes out of his nose and the sound out of his ears. One of the race fans on hand here at the Budweiser 500 in Dover, Delaware. Yes, what a difference a year make. 2 wins here at Dover last year. Dale Earnhardt was behind the wall 240 laps here this afternoon because of a broken cam. The top 20 positions, Wallace, Petty, Marlin, Elliott, and Trickle. We'll show you the rest of the top 20 with 305 laps completed. Here are the top 5 in Winston Cup points going into this race and where they are running in today's event. Dale Earnhardt, 29th at the moment. Morgan Shepherd is 9th. Mark Martin, 6th. Jeff Bodine is running 12th a lap down. And Rusty Wallace, 5th position in the point standings, is the leader of this event with 310 laps completed. But look how Kyle Petty has closed in now on Rusty Wallace.
That's Richard Petty.
Well, there's Kyle right behind him.
Well, you was talking about that first one. I know you was.
Oh, Benny. That isn't Richard Petty anyway. It's Larry Pearson.
Oh, that's true. I tell you what, he has beaten on him, though.
Yeah,
I will agree with you. Maybe the 1 mile racetracks are made for Kyle Petty. What do you think? Because remember Rockingham this year when he dominated, sit on the pole and won the Unical Challenge worth $220,000.
He was really strong this afternoon. Jerry, how about that?
Well, it may be deja vu for Kyle Petty. You know, a lot of teams build special cars for short tracks and for speedways. Gary Nelson has built a special car for 1 mile racetracks. In fact, this is the same car that ran 500 miles with the Rockingham, and you know what happened there? They went over 420 laps. So they feel like this car runs awfully well on the 1 mile track.
Well, of course, one thing you have to consider with that Rockingham win was the radial tires, which Kyle felt definitely helped him. They had done a tremendous amount of testing with the radials. They're not running the radials here this afternoon, but nevertheless, Kyle Petty running very well, 2nd position.
And we understand they may be running the radials when we come back here in September for the Peak 500.
So Rusty Wallace is headed for his 2nd win of the 1990 season. Do you feel a big weight has been lifted off your shoulders since last week's win at Charlotte Motor Speedway?
Yeah, I really do. I feel like the pressure's off right now because, hey, we've been having a lot of bad luck, and we haven't had poor performance, not speed performance. We just had bad luck. I mean, when you cut a tire down in Bristol and go through the wall, and then you blow a motor at Atlanta, then and I get myself in a wreck at Darlington. Those were things that are very uncharacteristic for this team, and that happened to us. But the whole time that was happening, we were flying. So the day I go out there and the car just runs terrible all the time, then we'll start having problems. But not right yet, it isn't.
That certainly isn't the way it is this afternoon, as Rusty has the first genuine draft Pontiac at the head of the field. There you can see his last 4 Dover finishes, and he has performed very well on this racetrack.
And he's on the right on the white line through the corner, staying right down near the inside of the racetrack. The white line, folks, separates the bank from the flat of the racetrack. You can't go below that white line because there's no bank there. The car would want to spin out. But as close as you can get to the white line and keep the car going around and going straight, the better off you are, because obviously the shorter the distance.
Very thin line there between the best and not so good. Well, things are kind of calmed down here with 317 laps to go, and because of that, we want to get as many of our commercial breaks out of the way so that we can bring you the finish of the race without interruption. And so we will take another commercial break and be back with more of the Budweiser 500 from Dover, Delaware. Rusty Wallace leads this race.
Dick Trickle has caught Bill Elliott, and this is a race for 4th spot.
Yeah, fourth position. Bill Elliott in number 9 is fourth, and Dick Trickle in 66 is in fifth at the moment. That's Darrell Waltrip, of course, in car number 17, who is well off the pace. He is 2 laps down, being shown in 16th position.
Darrell Waltrip has had all kinds of problems. Oh, look here, Trickle comes on the inside of Elliott.
Again, he got a nice bite coming off the corner to the low side of the racetrack. And now let's see if that low groove is going to work for Trickle. Yes, it does. That's exactly where that car likes to run. Show you the cars that have dropped out of competition. Harry Gant was a leader and then dropped out of the event. Jimmy Spencer ran very well before falling by the wayside. Dave Marcus and Rick Mast have joined those out of the event.
Boy, we've gone a long ways without caution here today, guys.
Lap 100 was the last time we saw the caution wave, and we're now on 326. And we should be seeing pit stops by Bill Elliott and Rusty Wallace before too long, Ned.
They are out of sequence. I think within the next 10 laps, we'll see both of those drivers come into pits.
Trickle now in fourth and Elliott in fifth. Trickle the pole sitter. He was far superior than everybody else in qualifying. And the number 12 car of Hut Strickland is slow in the pits, and he was running in 13th position, just 1 lap down the field. This is the Bobby Allison car, of course, and here comes Bill Elliott in for a stop. Elliott is in for the stop. Jerry Punch reports.
Well, they have trouble with the air hose until finally Dan Elliott gets the hose and it's caught behind the wall and will change right side tires. Looks like they will also now make a 4 times. They've been taking the lugs off the left rear of the car. They will scamper around to the left side of the car. Yes, the Taurus crew coming around. They will make a 4 tire change. A major adjustment to the chassis by Mike Beam in the right rear of the car. Taking around a wedge out of the right rear. They still have to follow the jack. He's down and away. 24 even in turn 1.
4 tires and the car full of fuel, and Bill Elliott roars back into competition.
That's not a bad pit stop, making a chassis adjustment, changing 4 tires.
Now he'll have to make at least 1 more pit stop if this thing should go green the rest of the way, and Rusty should be coming in before too long.
Wallace is the leader.
And we see Elliott just in front of the Rusty Wallace automobile, but Bill should be able to, with those 4 fresh tires, stay in front of Rusty and keep him going another lap down.
Rusty Wallace's crew is getting ready for his pit stop. Here he comes right now. Jerry Punch is right there in Rusty Wallace's pit.
Harold Elliott holding the sideboard. They will change only 2 tires here on the Miller Pontiac for Rusty Wallace. The crew going over to the right side. Barry Dodson holding the jack with 1 hand, driving under the car, and begins to pump. Jimmy Maycar pull the right front tire off. They clean the windshield. Rusty revving the engine, make sure he doesn't stall on pit road. They will come around to the left side. No, they've changed their mind. They will change all 4 tires. Barry Dodson and the crew now watching what happened to Bill Elliott. They're going to decide they must change all 4 to stay up front. Left front tire on, now the left rear. Plug up, goes back on. The jack is out and he's away. 23.5 seconds, he's back to turn 1.
So only about a half a second difference between him and Bill Elliott's pit stop. Elliott was just a little bit slower, and he goes a lap down, and that gives the lead to Kyle Petty.
Now Kyle should be able to run a little while before he comes in because he made his green flag pit stop much later. We see them pushing the Hutch Strickland car down the went inside as if to try to change ignitions. Apparently the car just quit on him, and they're pushing it down into the pit, into the garage area now.
Kyle Petty staying out there in first position with 333 circuits completed. And so, as Ned said, it will be a few more laps before he comes in for his stop. So we will take another commercial break and be back with more of our live coverage of the Budweiser 500. Stay with us. We are back at Dover. Have to have a talk with Gary Nelson because he made a liar out of me. Kyle Petty has been in for a pit stop. He did come in during our commercial break, got 4 new tires and a tank full of fuel, and he's back out there.
Morgan Shepherd also made a pit stop while we were away.
And guess what happened to Hut Strickland? We're reporting from the pits that he broke a camshaft.
Dale Earnhardt, Harry Gant, and Hut Strickland all with broken camshafts. Let's go down to Jerry.
Well, actually, Bob, you weren't really a liar. In fact, Gary Nelson and the crew had planned on waiting another 15 or 20 laps, or at least until the commercial was over, to make their pit stop. But apparently, after Rusty Wallace changed 4 tires and picked up so much speed on the racetrack, they couldn't afford to wait. They decided to go ahead and pit early, commercial or no. So they came in and changed all 4 tires and are back on the speedway.
And he is definitely up to speed, but Ken Schrader now is in for a pit stop. He was running in the top 10 in the Kodiak Chevrolet. And he only got 2 tires.
Only got 2 tires.
Yep.
Of course, he had put on 4 the last time they made a green flag pit stop.
Okay, now let's get back to this camshaft problem. Dale Earnhardt, Harry Gant, Hut Strickland, all with broken cams. Any speculation as to why, Benny?
I speculate this racetrack going down in the corners. There's a new leader, Sterling Marlin, the Sunoco Oldsmobile. This racetrack going down in the corners, you drive in so hard, the car wants to leave the racetrack. Feels like all 4 tires come off the racetrack. I speculate the rear tires are coming off the racetrack. The fellows are still on the throttle. When the car hits the surface again, the rear wheels hit, it breaks the camshaft.
Here's Mark Martin making a stop. He too in the top 10. And Jerry Punch is right there.
Steve Mill and the crew, Robin Pemberton, going to work on the Mark Martin car again. A major chassis change in the right rear. They jacked some weight in the car. Adding fuel, they will come around to the left side. They change now left side tires on the Folger 4 under the Jack Roush Racing Stable. Still putting the lug nuts on the left side of the car. Off the jack, back in gear, into turn 1.
Good quick stop for Mark. Good quick stop. Now we wait on Sterling Marlin, the leader of the race, to see if he will be coming in. He crosses the line right now and completes lap 343, expecting him in about 4 laps.
Yeah, I think he'll come in before too long because he was one of those drivers that made an early pit stop during the last round of green flag stops.
Tell you what, if the caution flag was to come out about right now, he'd have a bunch of people in some big trouble.
4 cars still need to pit. They are Marlin, Trickle, Irvin, and Cope. And there's Rusty Wallace right behind the leader.
Now he's trying to get back in the lead lap as he moves up on Sterling Marlin. He went a lap down when he made his pit stop. Now trying to get back in the lead lap, so if that caution should come out, he wouldn't be one of those that was hurt too badly.
And I believe he's going to do it. Good fresh tires on that 27 car.
He didn't do it this lap. Marlin got a good jump on the outside, coming off the corner, got a good bite. But Rusty, I don't think it's going to be denied on the bottom of the racetrack, being able to stick as well as he is on the bottom.
Sterling Marlin's best finish of the year, 4th in Rockingham. He also finished 4th in the Winston Open.
He's coming in.
Yep. Coming down off the banking and headed for pit road. Sterling Marlin relinquishes the lead, and John Kernan has this pit stop.
Well, they're waiting for the Sunoco Olds to come in. He's going to be a 4-tire change. Donnie Dishel and Steve Wilson go to work on the right tires. Already the right side tires are off, going on, putting on the lugs. The left side lug nuts are off. Clay doing a good job there. They'll come back around to the left side of the car. Up it goes on the track. 2 cans of fuel going in. The tires on the left side coming off. Now they'll get them back on. And now Marlin is away. A really nice pit stop. 22.2 seconds, and the crew is pretty happy with that.
They should be very happy with that. Good, clean, fast pit stop for Sterling Marlin in the Sunoco Oldsmobile. And that gives the lead back to Dick Trickle. But again, he's going to have a pit stop in the next few laps. And so is Ernie Irvin and Derry Cope.
And here's Kyle Petty trying to get back in the lead lap as well. With Dick Trickle leading, Kyle Petty trying to move around him in case the caution should come out before Trickle pits. And he would be back in the lead lap.
Kyle has already pitted. And everybody's going to need one more.
Oh, yes, there's no 150 laps to go.
We anticipate a stop by Dick Trickle somewhere between lap 360 and 365. That would be around 13 more laps from now, somewhere between 13 and 18 more laps for Dick.
He did go longer the last time, Jerry Punch, than most of the other top runners.
Indeed he did, Ned. You know, if they can nurse this car for about 12 or 13 more laps and make their pit stop around 363, 365, they may be able to make it with one more pit stop, or just a dash of fuel only. They're hoping that maybe they can get a quick in and out and not have to worry about changing tires. It should play into their hands if we go green the rest of the way.
So Dick Trickle is headed for the Unocal money at the moment, $20,800. Boy, this has been a very incident-free race. We've only had 2 wins and really just one incident of wall contact. Michael Waltrip hit the wall over in turn number 2. Rick Wilson spun in turn 2 on lap 100. Of course, our first of 3 caution periods of the afternoon was brought about when Dale Earnhardt slowed and they came out to check the track for oil.
By the way, Bob, how come you wouldn't give Trickle $22,800 or how much you cut to me?
Or was it 22?
Yeah. Okay. Was you going to keep $2,000 for yourself?
If I could. There's Ernie Irvan, second position, and we anticipate a stop from Ernie in about 3 more laps.
He has had a good run today. Been up there in the top 5 most of the day. Coming up on the J.D. McDuffie Rumpel Furniture Pontiac. Mike Potter in that car now.
Seen a lot of relief driving here today in the hot and humid weather.
Crew Chief Tony Glover guides Ernie Irvan into his pits. He is run out of gas, or almost run out of gas. He saw the light come on, thought he'd run out of gas. They go around to the right side. Robert doing the work on the tires. Going on, now they're on. Now around to the left side and filling it up. He's only going to do a 2-tire change. They're waiting to get gas in. 16.1 seconds. They had to wait till they got the last drop of fuel in before they could let it go.
16.1 second for Ernie Irvan. 2 tires and away he goes again. And we have completed 355 laps now in the Budweiser 500. And in the lead is Dick Trickle. At Dover, where Dick Trickle in car number 66 leads the Budweiser 500. However, we anticipate a stop from him momentarily. There's 360 laps completed. He'll be in within the next 4 laps. Just ahead of Dick Trickle, as we watch from the Phillips 66 in-car camera, is Ricky Rudd and Levi Garrett, Chevy number 5. There is Dale Jarrett, who just came in for a pit stop, and Dale has been running in the top 15. Trickle stays out there.
Ricky Rudd comes into the pits in the Levi Garrett Chevrolet.
There are currently 3 cars on the lead lap. However, that's because those 3 cars have not made the pit stop that is needed by them. That's Trickle, Cope, and Wallace.
Wallace has made a pit stop.
Yeah, but he is off sequence to everybody else. You're right. He will be the leader when Trickle and Cope pit.
Dick Trickle stays on the racetrack. You know, Kyle Petty came up just a little bit ago and looked like he was going by Dick Trickle. He didn't get by, and okay, they've got the board out now. I think that we're going to see Trickle make a pit stop. I think.
Let's see if Trickle comes in this time. Nope. Be at least 1 more lap. You can see him talking to the crew on the radio.
I wonder if you think he's got a radio problem, Ned?
I don't know. Could have. He's just staying out there and keeps it going.
Look at he's motioning the people behind him. He's going in.
Yep. Dick's got his hand up. He's headed for pit road. Jerry Punch is right there. Here comes Dick Trickle in for his stop.
Well, Doug Williams and the crew set the service. The 48-year-old driver from Wisconsin, the defending Rookie of the Year here in NASCAR Winston Cup Racing, and a big smile on Trickle's face when he comes in. Doug Williams hands him a cold drink while the crew busily changing the right side tire. It will be only a 2-tire change. 1 one can of fuel in. Second can of Unocal fuel going in. Through now, scampering back. The car's away. 13.2 seconds. He is down and headed toward turn 1.
Well, it's kind of interesting when we talk to El Race about numerology. It's interesting that the last time, that of course, here is Derek Cope coming in, second place car, and John Kernan will have that story.
Well, they're bringing in Derek about 5 laps earlier than they had anticipated. They're planning a 4-tire change, but it looks as if they're only going to go for 2 as they're not thinking about the left side look up. They check the left side. Derek gets a grip. 2 cans of Unocal racing fuel going in. They clean off the front grille. Derek is down and away. 12.7 seconds. Another good effort in the pits for this Pure Later crew.
Those guys have really worked hard this afternoon getting that car in and out of the pits.
Yeah, it's a father-son team doing the changing of those tires, Buddy Parrott and his son Brad Parrott, and they sort of race each other down there and really results in some good pit stops.
Well, and they're also trying to make up because of what they did to Jerry Cope when they ran him out of fuel earlier on.
So Rusty Wallace now goes back into the lead. The Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac car number 27 with 366 laps completed. Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware for the Budweiser 500. If you're just joining us, the leader is Rusty Wallace in car 27. Dale Earnhardt lost more than 240 laps because of a camshaft problem. Now, the Big A Auto Parts pit stop performance from the most recent round of pit stops. Rusty Wallace did a great job getting in and out of the pits. 12.3 seconds. A 4-tire change, 25.8 by the crew. You look down to Dick Trickle, 16.1 seconds on the entry and exit of pit road, but it only took the crew 13 seconds. That was a 2-tire change. So you can see the difference, 29.1 to 38.1, the difference between a 2 and a 4-tire change. Rusty Wallace, however, did maintain the advantage after all of this. And now he is leading Kyle Petty, Dick Trickle, Sterling Marlin, and Ken Schrader.
The problem that Rusty Wallace has, Ned has talked about, we've talked about Rusty Wallace's out of sequence. What's going to happen is he's going to stop about 400 miles or so, 415 miles. He's going to have another 85 miles on those tires, whereas competitors are only going to have 40 or 50 miles. A difference of 30 or 40 laps with fresher tires, and that's going to be might make a difference once this thing comes down to the end. It should go green flag the rest of the way.
Yep. He's running about 6 seconds ahead of Kyle Petty, who is running in second place, and Dick Trickle is right on the back bumper of Kyle Petty. So
there's Butch Miller in the number 98 Banquet Frozen Foods Planters Peanuts car. Banquet Frozen Foods sponsoring next weekend's race at Sears Point International Raceway in Sonoma, California. Get ready to watch for your favorite driver again as he passes the line. As we'll lock down our camera, and the car's coming off the 4th corner when Rusty Wallace gets to that area of the racetrack. Here he comes off of corner number 4.
Look at Butch Miller trying to get by Rusty Wallace. That's Butch in the Banquet Chevrolet behind him. Here comes
Trickle,
Trickle.
Kyle, Dale, Richard, Marlin,
Ricky Rudd, Ken Schrader.
Schrader now in 5th place. There's Jeff Ledine.
Elliott, Irvin, Michael Waltrip, Terry Labonte,
Morgan Shepherd.
There's Earnhardt and Waltrip. And the leader once again, 26.6 seconds on the lap. It's a little slower than we timed him earlier in the year. That 98 car staying right with Rusty, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
It would seem maybe that you can kind of gauge what you're doing by how a car like Butch Miller stays with you, or you're able to pull away from him at this stage of the race?
Well, I'm sure that Rusty looks up and sees Butch Miller. He hasn't been able to race with him all day. He says, wait a minute, am I slowing down? But Butch has probably got on some 4 fresh tires. And let's face it, Butch Miller is no slouch when it comes to driving a race car. Yep. He's pretty doggone good.
It's probably a better gauge for Butch Miller once Rusty went around him to see how fast. He said, maybe I can get a little bit more out of this thing. And he gets a little inspired, I think, when the leader goes by and he says, let's see if I can pump this thing up and stay with him for a while.
By the way, while we were doing the field rundown there and you saw the cars pass through and I said that that was Richard Petty in 43, it was, because he is back in the race car after seeking relief from Larry Pearson earlier.
And here comes Davey Allison.
Yep. The 66 and 42 cars are battling for position out there. That's Dick Trickle and Kyle Petty for second. By the way, that car, of course, is owned, the Dick Trickle car is owned by Cale Yarborough. And Dick Trickle started on the pole today. Now, the last time that the race was won from the pole here was in 1976, the fall of 1976. And the car was driven by Cale Yarborough.
I forgot that Hut Strickland has relieved Ford Davey Allison. So we've got a fresh driver in that Howland Star Ford.
Well, you say fresh, yeah, Hut didn't get to sit out too long after his car gave him problems, but he has gotten in the car number 28. Here's Kyle trying to make a pass on Dick Trickle, but he couldn't quite do it that time.
Got his nose to the inside and then thought better of it and fell in behind Dick Trickle once again. So Kyle Petty stays in third in the Pete Pontiac.
The way Kyle dropped back behind Trickle, looks like that something Trickle did surprise him. Either that or Kyle got the car out of shape because he lost several car lengths when he had to get out of the throttle up there.
He's picking up on him, Benny, going into turn one in particular. Kyle really drives in deep in that turn. Picked up all of that distance he lost just in that one turn.
118 more laps to go here at Dover. Second, Trickle and Petty. Lapping Jimmy Horton in number 80.
Jimmy Horton, the ARCA King this year, has won the last 3 super speedways for the ARCA cars. In fact, all of the ARCA car super speedways this year.
He, of course, is from Hamilton, New Jersey, not too awfully far from Dover, Delaware. So Jimmy Spencer bringing his Winston Cup car to competition. Jimmy Horton, right. Boy, Kyle really closes in on Trickle in the corners.
Yes, he does. Had to go around the car number 7, did the J.D. McDuffie car.
Oh, did you see the 66 car get the sideways hit? Tire smoke up in the corner?
Yep.
Trickle might have got his tires a little bit hot. Let's see if Kyle can do anything with him.
Nope, can't take the position away from Dick Trickle, and so Dick maintains third. Kyle Petty, or rather second. Kyle Petty is in third position. Fourth is Sterling Marlin. Fifth is Mark Martin.
Oh, Kyle hits Trickle and he spins.
Trickle spins to the inside of the racetrack. The car is still spinning. And the yellow flag comes out.
It looks like they made contact after they came off of turn 2. Trickle came off of there a little slower than usual. And Kyle really had a good run coming off of there. And it looked like they touched. And here's Trickle now coming on around.
It's not going to lose a lap.
It doesn't appear as he hit anything.
Nope, I don't think he did. I think he got awfully close to that inside wall down there on the backstretch, but didn't hit anything. And here's a replay.
All right, let's watch it. As they come off of this turn, Trickle, of course, second place. Kyle really gets a run off of that turn. Had a notion to go outside, and Dick bobbled a little bit, and that's when Kyle ran up on him and touched him.
Yep. Trickle bobbled down in the middle of the corner and still didn't have it under control as it came up off the second corner.
And he spun around a couple of times and kept going, and now probably will have to come in for a pit stop to get those tires checked out.
But I think everybody else will too, Bob. I think so.
Good job of driving by Dick Trickle as he kept it out of the wall.
We're showing 10 cars still in the lead lap.
And the pace car has picked up the field, and now pit lane becomes available for stops.
Morgan Shepherd is running 10th, and he was almost a lap down. Rusty Wallace was coming up pretty close to put Morgan Shepherd a lap down, so this is a break for Morgan.
Morgan trying to maintain his perfect record of finishing in the top 10 every single race. Jerry Punch is in Rusty's pit as he comes in for the stop.
Rusty Wallace bringing the Pontiac down pit road, and here Barry Dotson, Harold Elliott, and the crew will go to work. John Dotson on the right rear, Jimmy Maycar on the right front. You hear the crew, the air guns in the background as Rusty revs the engine up on the car, cleaning the windshield. Pit road, a very, very busy place right now. Likewise, Kyle Petty is in as he is getting service on his car. Rusty's crew now getting left side tires. Maycar, showing from turn 1. Rusty Wallace's car is down pit road. Kyle's off the jack. He turns left and will head down pit road. Well, here comes Ricky Rudd. They're still working on the Mark Martin car. Sterling Marlin making his way down pit road. Elliott is still in here. Slater down pit road. And here comes Dick Trickle getting back to turn 1 after that spin up out of turn 2.
Refresh my poor memory, guys. Similar situation with Dick Trickle in the twin qualifying race at Daytona when he spun down the backstretch after an incident with Elliott, right? Remember that?
True.
Yep.
Yes, that is true.
All right, so Dick Trickle did not lose a lap on his spin after having contact with Kyle Petty. We'll be back to Green Flag Racing in just a moment. Back at Dover, and some fans have spent a lot of time on these letters that they have cut out. We appreciate that, people. Now, here's a replay once again of the incident between Dick Trickle in 66 and Kyle Petty in 42.
We can see Dick Trickle get the car a little bit out of shape. It looked like Kyle Petty just touched him, and Trickle spins the car all the way down the back straightaway. No, he does not hit the inside wall, folks. He does not hit it.
Now, here's the in-car real-time listen.
How could you get so lucky no one run over you?
Really?
You know, you could hear him decelerate when he came off of turn 2. He had to back off just a little bit when the car bobbled.
Yep.
That's before Kyle hit him.
Just burped it enough for Kyle to give him a slight nudge that sent Dick Trickle spinning down the backstretch. And bringing out our fourth caution of the day, we'll be right back. We are about to go green and restart the Budweiser 500 Winston Cup race with Rusty Wallace in the lead and 99 more laps to go.
Boy, your mathematics is not too good either.
Now wait, there's
109 laps, folks. What's the matter?
Oh, okay.
Been too long a day yet.
I never was any good at math, you know?
We've run 391, folks. So take that from 500. That makes 109.
Here's a green flag. Rusty Wallace leads him down. Kyle Petty running second. Sterling Marlin third.
Rudd trying to get a lap back, gets in front of Rusty Wallace.
I tell you, folks, I wanted to say before, although Rusty coming back on the inside there now, but before that caution came out, Ricky was one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. But he at one time was 2 laps down and had gotten back, I think, within 1 lap.
Now Rusty inching his way ahead just a little. All the little bits of rubber that have been kicked up from the racetrack onto our lens of the speed shot. Here's the 15 and the 6 car, the 15 of Morgan Shepherd and the 6 car of Mark Martin. Now, Jerry, update us on the most recent pit stop by Mark Martin, if you will.
They spent about 6 extra seconds in the pits, Bob. They put a rubber insert in the left rear spring to try to stiffen the left rear spring. Apparently, they had a problem with the car being so loose in the middle of the corner out. He couldn't get on the throttle at all, but so putting that rubber insert in will let the car be a little tighter coming out of the corner so he can get back in the throttle. So watch for Mark Martin to be a little stronger here in the late stages. Let's go up pit road to John Kernan.
Well, as we all know, you need a little luck to finish in the top 10. Morgan Shepherd's had that luck all year long, and it continued with this last caution flag. Morgan thought he had run out of gas down the backstretch. At the same time, he was about to be lapped. So the caution came out at a very opportune time for Morgan Shepherd, who now stays on the lead lap and still in the top 10.
Yep, he sure does. And if he finishes in the top 10, it will continue his streak of every race this year. Plus, it will put him very close to, if not in, the Winston Cup points lead.
Yeah, I would say we put him in the Winston Cup point lead.
Sterling Marlin, folks, has got a tire rubbing.
Yeah,
the smoke coming out the back of that 94 car.
Yep.
Oh, man, what a terrible, terrible break for this fella.
Running in second place.
And he has just gone into second place, passing Kyle Petty, but we'll look to see if that tire rubbing is going to be, oh, look at it, smoke coming off the
left rear.
Left rear,
The NASCAR officials are looking that over on the flag stand as he went by.
Looks like he made just slight contact with someone, knocked the corner panel in on the tire.
Yep. It's the left side tire. That wouldn't be quite as bad for him if it should go flat as if it were the right side tire. But you don't want any tire to go flat on this racetrack.
Sterling maintains second, though, despite this smoke coming from the left rear.
Yeah, don't think that it's hurting the race car at all as far as the handling is concerned.
Well, let's go down to John Kernan for a report on this situation.
I'm with Steve Lloyd, the crew chief for Sterling Marlin. It looks like he's got a tire rubbing.
Yeah, when he went around Cole, I guess he got the rubbing, or maybe even the miles car might have tapped him a little bit. I don't believe it's no problem. I believe we'll be all right.
You just had a conversation with the NASCAR official. What did he tell you?
He just told us we had a tire rubbing, that's all. We're going to ride it out. I think we'll be all right.
There you have it from Steve Lloyd. The tire is rubbing, and he thinks they will be able to ride it out.
Well, it's certainly not slowing the car down very much. Sterling Marlin able to maintain that second position. And Dale Earnhardt is slowing down once again. So Dale Earnhardt has had a tough afternoon after spending more than 200 laps in the pits to repair a broken cam. Now the number 3 Goodwrench Chevrolet slows once again.
But he came back out and picked up several positions, which means a good many points. He perhaps gained 20 or so points, and who knows, at the end of the year, that can make a difference in $1 million. And what is second pay? A couple $100,000 or something?
330, I believe.
Okay.
Let's go to Jerry Punch with the update on Dale Earnhardt.
Well, it was really a roll of the dice for the Earnhardt crew. You know, when the camshaft came apart before, they had to take the oil pan off the engine back in the garage area, and they were picking pieces of camshaft out of the oil pan, and they realized there had to be metal all through the engine, but they decided that they had no choice. They were going to go ahead and put a new cam in and come out and try to pick up some laps. So those few points here may make the difference last year. They were sorry they didn't try it last year in Charlotte and could have made a difference in winning the Winston Cup Championship, but they gave it their best effort, but looks like Earnhardt will have to finally park it.
He is back in the garage area as a race on the track involves the 66 of 9 and also Derek Cope and Mark Martin are involved in this. There are 4 cars that are battling for position.
Now, Trickle had slowed a little bit a lap ago, Bob. I don't know if he has a problem or if he just thought he had a problem. He slowed down for a little bit, got on the inside of the racetrack. Bill Elliott went up on the outside and went around it. Now it looks like he's maybe back up to speed, but just behind him is Derek Cope. You can see Cope there in the car number 10 and Mark Martin right behind Derek Cope.
5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Elliott in 5th.
And I believe Trickle does have a problem. Here goes Derek Cope trying to move on the outside of him. Trickle staying right down on the bottom of the racetrack.
Don't think Trickle is quite as fast as he was before the spin.
Cope so far. Let's go to Jets and Jerry Punch. Jerry, does he have a problem?
Well, why don't we ask Doug Williams, the crew chief? Doug, he seems to be slowing a little bit. What's the problem?
The car's just a little bit loose on it right now, Jerry. I'm maybe having a flat tire.
Did he have any problems at all from that spin earlier? Did he bend anything in the car?
We don't think so. He doesn't think there's anything wrong with the steering on the tri-party car.
This is a real loose race car, which can be a murderous car to handle here at Dover, Delaware.
Well, he just lost 2 positions. He just lost 2 positions as Derek Cope and Mark Martin were both able to pass him and put Trickle back in 8th.
Looks like maybe the racetrack has changed again because he could have a flat tire. Doug Williams said something about the possibility of a flat tire. Who knows? He may.
In any case, Dick Trickle drops back just a couple of positions here as the lead continues to be held by Rusty Wallace, looking for his 2nd consecutive Winston Cup win. We'll be back with more right after this from Dover, Delaware. Laps to go in the Budweiser 500. Great battle for 2nd position between the 42 of Kyle Petty and the number 94 car of Sterling Marlin, and Petty has 2nd position.
The spots are getting hard to come by because they ran side by side for about 3 laps before Kyle Petty was able to get by. And look, here comes Rudd, just 1 lap down, trying his best to get by the 94 car driven by Sterling Marlin.
You know, Kyle Petty, car number 42, if he wins this race, as a matter of fact, if he wins 2 more races this year and picks up 3 Winston Cup victories, his car owner Felix Sabates has promised him an IndyCar ride next year for 3 races.
An IndyCar ride?
Yeah.
That means Kyle Petty's not going to win but about 1 more race. He ain't that dumb.
Say, I don't want it. Well, I don't know. Maybe he does. We understand Dale Earnhardt is officially out of the race now in the Goodrich Chevrolet.
Hey, Bob, you hang around those Indy cars. I mean, those cars, don't they look dangerous to you with all that wind going around their head? And, you know?
Yeah, it does. They do look dangerous, but you really look at the safety record between these cars and the Indy cars in the last few years, and they're just as safe as any other type of racing car. But they're, as you know, at the Indianapolis Speedway this year, we're going almost 230 miles an hour. That's fast.
It is fast.
The 25 car of Ken Schrader suddenly emerges now as a contender here as he is running with his teammate Ricky Rudd. There's Ken Schrader in car number 25, and he is on the same lap as Sterling Marlin and Kyle Petty. So second, third, and fourth position now right here, as the lead continues to be held by Rusty Wallace. Now behind this group, 5th, 6th, and 7th, we find Bill Elliott, the 10 car of Jerry Cope, and the 66 car of Dick Trickle. Number 6 car of Mark Martin, to beg your pardon. There they are.
And then the 4th car is next behind them, Ernie Irvin. He just passed Dick Trickle a lap ago. So.
And the only other car on the lead lap is the 15 car driven by Morgan Shepherd. Here comes the 4 and the 66. That's the 8th and the 9th spot. Jerry Punch, what is the situation with Dick Trickle? Is it a serious problem for him?
Well, after we talked to Doug Williams a moment ago, they didn't think they had a problem except the car was getting very, very loose. They said he may have a tire going down. But unfortunately, Dick, his radio just a moment ago, said he thinks he might have a right rear shock broken, which may have occurred when he spun over there in turn 2. So a tough break for Dick Trickle here at Dover.
Meanwhile, good race for 3rd position here as Ken Schrader tries to take over 3rd position from Sterling Marlin, and he does easily.
Wow.
Schrader's on the move.
Schrader is definitely on the move, man.
Yeah, Kyle Petty's not too far up there in front of him. Well, we have a report here that Dale Earnhardt gained 4 positions by coming back out, which means that he picked up about 12 points. Oh, you never know. That might be a big difference at the end of the season.
But you know, that's an interesting number, 12, because that's how much he lost the championship by last year. Rusty Wallace beat him by 12 points.
This race now almost 3.5 hours old. Rusty Wallace is the leader. Is it difficult to maintain your concentration here at Dover with such a very, very long event?
Yeah, it really is. It's a long time around here, and you're out there so long. It's a track where you're out there for 2 hours and some odd minutes. You look at the scoreboard and you think you're 3/4 of the way through the race, and you're only halfway through. And you're thinking, oh man, I got 250 more laps to go. I cannot believe it. But I really don't ever look forward to this race. I look forward to getting this race over, and I feel like if I get this race over, I've really accomplished something.
Well, I'm sure his attitude will be...
Dale Jarrett and Jeff Bodine get together coming off of turn 2, and Bodine spins to the inside.
Another caution.
Budweiser Ford. Now they'll be able to come in and get enough fuel, guys, to go the rest of the way from here.
And Jeff Bodine has had contact with the inside wall. Jeff Bodine's car is stopped in the middle of the backstretch. And this brings out our 5th caution period of the afternoon. And it will come at lap 419.
Now he gets it going. He sat there for a little while, but finally gets it to going. So Bodine will come back to the pits, and we'll see everybody come into the pits once the pit lane is open.
Getting enough fuel to go the distance now for the completion of this race. While we watch the pack form behind the pace car, let's update the situation regarding Dale. If Earnhardt is credited with 32nd position, Morgan Shepherd will take the points lead if Morgan finishes 24th or better. And at the moment, Morgan Shepherd was running in 10th position. So it looks as if for the first time in his Winston Cup career, we will have Morgan Shepherd at the top of the Winston Cup points following this event here this afternoon. Pace car leading him through the third and fourth corners.
So the pit road should be open when they come by this time. They'll take on 4 tires, pack the tank with gas, be ready to go.
Here they come. Rusty Wallace is coming in, and Jerry Punch will report on this pit stop by our leader, Rusty Wallace.
Everyone making an entry on the pit road. Rusty is in. Likewise, Kyle Petty and some of the other cars are in. Kyle Petty on the bottom of your picture. Rusty on top. The crew now changing right side tires here on the Rusty Wallace car, and also they're changing tires on the Kyle Petty machine. Now crew around the left side of Rusty Wallace machine. They're still working on the right side. Still on the left side now on the Kyle Petty car. 2 Pontiacs being worked here on the pit. The crew now, Rusty on the jack. Kyle's crew still working on putting the left front tire to the left rear tire. Now Kyle off the jack coming down pit road. He will be followed out by Derek Koch in the Pure Leader Chevrolet. Mark Martin and Kenny Schrader.
Bill Elliott's still in, but the thing that I noticed about that series of pit stops, the 10 crew again with some fine pit work, getting Derek out in third position.
Great pit stop by Buddy Parrott and his crew.
They have had some good pit stops all afternoon.
The crew checking the track in the backstretch where Jeff Bodine hit the wall back there. Let's go to John Kernan. You were in that Buddy Parrott Purelator Derry Cope pit, weren't you, John?
I sure was. I almost didn't have enough time to catch my breath watching them. They made me tired. Buddy and Brad Parrott just doing an excellent job. Ken Schrader beat them into the pit area by a couple of seconds, and they beat Ken out. Like you said, Derek is now right behind Rusty Wallace. And just another incredible pit stop for the Purelator team. And the 42, Kyle Petty, is coming back in. Jerry is down pit road. Jerry?
Well, they wanted to make sure they had plenty of fuel in Kyle Petty's car. He now moves away, and we're looking here at the Budweiser Ford, the damaged Budweiser Ford of Jeff Bodine, Peter Johnson's prepared car. Tim Brewer and the crew have tried to pry some of the sheet metal, primarily damaged to the right front fender area, the right front bumper. The car is pushed in. They have put some of the bungee cords, and now Bodine rolling back toward turn 1 on the speedway.
Here is the reason for the crash. Jeff Bodine off of corner number 2, coming in contact with the inside wall. There's a contact, hit it on both corners.
I was looking straight at it, and because I just happened to look up to see where Dale Jarrett was on the track, and if you fans don't know, he's my son, so I just wanted to see what he was doing. And all of a sudden, he was under Jeff Bodine, or started to get under him. Jeff's car was a little bit loose coming off of the turn, and they made contact, and around Bodine went.
So 423 laps completed now. We're set up for the completion of this event with Rusty Wallace, a leader, and Derek Cope running second. Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware still under yellow. Our mechanic of the race for the Budweiser 500 is Gary Nelson of the Kyle Petty crew, and here's Jerry Punch.
Well, Gary Nelson picks up $1,000 as the Western Auto Mechanic of the Race award winner. And Gary, congratulations on the award winning. And I got to ask you, you guys came back in again on that under this caution. Why?
Well, they might have given away the award just a little bit early. We had a little bit of a mix-up in the pits, and we had to come back in and make sure the wheels were all tight. So we gave up some good track position. We've been fighting all day to be up front. Now we got to restart about 8th in line, so we're going to have to struggle now.
They call it the Western Auto Honest Mechanic of the Race winner. So that's Gary Nelson here in the Kyle Petty pit.
Let's go to John Kernan on this Derek Cope pit stop. Man, it was good, John.
It sure was. One clocking had it at 18.99. The other had it at 19.3. And Buddy Parrott wanted me to emphasize it. Hey, that's with a 50-year-old man changing the front tires.
Well, they've all done outstanding work here this afternoon, not only on that most recent pit stop, but all day long. And talk about track position. They have given Derek Cope excellent track position, lined up right behind the leader, Rusty Wallace, as we go back to racing on lap number 426. The green flag flies. Here we go. Rusty pulling away a little bit as Ricky Rudd positioned himself between Wallace and Derek Cope, but now Cope passes on the inside, and here comes Ken Schrader in car number 25, and that car was awfully fast before we had the pit stops. And I have a feeling, guys, it's going to be fast now, too.
It is going to be fast.
Checking Big A Auto Parts pit stop performance on Rusty Wallace. 11.8 as far as the driver is concerned, entering and exiting the pits. Took the crew 22.4 seconds to get Rusty shod with new tires and fuel in the car for a total of 34.2 seconds.
And Ken Schrader has just moved by Derek Cope to take over second spot.
Here
Now Cope's coming by on the inside.
Battling back on the inside down the backstretch. Great race for second position here. Derek Cope and Ken Schrader. Ooh, man. Great tight competition. And here's Schrader's Big A Auto Parts pit stop performance. 15 seconds, 26.4 on the crew for a total of 41.4, so a little slower for the Ken Schrader stop. And he has some ground to make up, and he is doing it.
He's trying hard, no question about that. He thought he had the pin car cleared coming off the turn 2, but couldn't quite do it.
Let's get out to John Kernan for a report from Derek Cope's pit.
Buddy Derek told me that Derek would be just a little bit tight for about 10 to 12 laps, but after that the car should take off toward the front.
Okay, well, that could be the reason why he is battling for second position and trying desperately to maintain it. But Ken Schrader's car working well.
I mean, I realize that both these guys want to be second, and they want to be the car to run down Rusty Wallace, but they're not going to gain anything as long as they run side by side. They're out there racing like crazy. Rusty Wallace, the leader, is laughing all the way to the bank.
He's just driving away from him.
Now Cope gets a bite coming off the second corner on the inside and goes to second position. And here is Dick Trickle moving up.
Dick Trickle trying to move around Morgan Shepherd. There's Sterling Marlin in the Sunoco Oldsmobile number 94. Shepherd really wants to be careful. He wants to finish as high as he can, but I'll tell you, when he's in the points lead,
you got to really think that that's on his mind right now, is becoming the leader in Winston Cup points, Morgan Shepherd.
But you know, when I did that interview with him, we played a little while ago, he said, don't talk about points. Well, you've got to. There's still so much money at stake. You've got to talk about the points. $1 million to the Winston Cup champion.
It really is an accomplishment, and Morgan Shepherd has done it on consistency this year. He has not won a race in Winston Cup competition, but may take the points lead today because of consistency all 11 races this year. We'll be right back. Monster Mile at Dover, Delaware. Dover Downs International Speedway. That's where we're live with the Budweiser 500. We have a 1 mile track for race cars on the outside. On the inside, there is a harness racing facility here at Dover Downs, but a lot of horsepower this afternoon here on the 1 mile high banked oval. And the race is being led by Rusty Wallace. Second place is Derek Cope. Third is Ken Schrader. Fourth is Mark Martin. And fifth is Dick Trickle. Now, we think that Derek Cope, well, it's pretty obvious. Derek Cope is closing in. Let's check the interval exactly. Oh, yeah.
And by my stopwatch 3 laps ago, he was 1.5 seconds behind. So he's picking up about 0.2 of a second a lap.
You can see the smoke coming from the right rear of Derek Cope in his pursuit of Rusty Wallace. We'll check the interval again for you. It was 0.8 last time.
Ooh, right out against that wall.
0.2 of a second.
Using every inch. Using all the racetrack.
You see the tires once again, smoke on that Derek Cope automobile.
He's standing on some off the turns.
Dick Trickle. There he is, back in 5th place. Then Ernie Irvin. Then Sterling Marlin in 94.
Morgan Shepherd, the motocraft Ford.
This is the view from out back of Dick Trickle's
And the red car you see behind Morgan is Bill Elliott, Coors Ford.
There are 10 cars on the lead lap. All of those we just mentioned, plus Kyle Petty.
Ricky Rudd is running in 11th place, 1 lap down. The only driver that is 1 lap down. Dale Jarrett's 12th, Terry Labonte 13th. They're 2 laps down. And Jeff Bodine is 14th. He's 4 laps down. And the Danica Cruz car number 98, Butch Miller is 15th. He's 5 laps down.
Pretty good run for Butch today in 15th position. Now we see Cope closing in on Rusty Wallace. This is going to be a battle for the lead here.
Can you imagine Jerry Cope winning at Daytona, then coming back to the Monster Mile, one of the toughest tracks on the circuit? If he can just pull it off, if he can get by the 27 car and get in front.
You know, it's a shame that this couldn't have been a week ago for Derry Cope. Had he won last week in Charlotte, he would have been 2/3 of the way toward the Winston Million. It didn't happen, but sure is running well here this afternoon and trying to make a bid for the lead.
Right on the bumper of that Miller genuine draft right here on the inside.
He's got him. Derry Cope just drives around Rusty Wallace on the inside, and Derry Cope leads the Budweiser 500.
Wow, what a move and what traction he got coming off the turn.
Watch this. Watch this. Oh, we didn't see it. When he come off the corner, I'm sure they all jumped up in there. Oh, yeah.
A smile on Buddy Parrott's face as Derek went around to take over the lead of this race. And we've got 54 laps to go, right, Benny? Let's go to John Kernan.
Buddy, a big smile on your face once again. It took a lot of hard work to get him back up front, didn't it?
Well, it really did. We made a mistake on the gas, and my strategy all day was keep fresh tires on the car, and then we had that bad pit stop buzz with gas mileage. But anyway, the car's running great. Bob, don't count us out, baby. Don't count us out.
Can he hold on? Can he hold on? Will his tires last?
Well, that's what we got to do. You know, Derek's a young driver, but he's a hard charger. So if I can just talk to him and keep him cool off on those tires, he'll be okay.
I like the inscription there on the hat that he's wearing, "Will to win."
And there he goes, going by the Darrell Waltrip-driven Chevrolet by Jimmy Horton.
Boy, he's driving away from Wallace.
Oh, yeah. He's driven away more than a second in front of Rusty Wallace. Wonder if Wallace has slowed a little, or is Derek Cope just that fast? Well, Cope has run away from Ken Schrader when they were battling for second. He has pulled away from him for a long time. Let's go down to the pits and Jerry Punch, and we'll find out what Rusty Wallace's situation is.
Let's check in with Barry Dodson here, who's talking to Rusty Wallace. Barry, Derek Cope is going around Rusty and now pulled away. Is there a problem at all with your car?
He said it's got a loose set of tires on it right now, Jerry. He'll probably be happy with the caution, get it tightened up a little bit. Just a loose set.
Car a little bit too loose for Rusty Wallace. He'd like to see a yellow flag and get a tire check.
450 laps out of 500 completed, and Rusty Wallace now finds himself in second position behind Derek Cope. There is the interval between first and second. Besides his win at the Daytona 500, Derek Cope's best finish so far this year has been just last weekend at the World 600. He finished 9th. Other than that, gee, there isn't much to talk about. He was 12th at Rockingham, but it hasn't been a real great season for Derek. Back in the pack, meanwhile, we see the 25 car of Ken Schrader being challenged. In fact, look at Dick Trickle close in on Schrader.
Yeah, he was running 5th not too long ago. He passed Mark Martin, and now he's closing in on Ken Schrader.
And we are also very close to that track record, 122.7 currently. The track record is 124.7. And Dick Trickle trying to work to the inside of Ken Schrader to take over third spot. He can't get the job done.
Boys, Trickle working on the bottom of the racetrack. Watch Schrader go in high and Trickle go to the bottom of the racetrack.
He may have him this time coming off the turn. They're side by side at the line. Ooh, maybe some contact between the two right there.
Close.
Schrader able to hold off the challenge for the moment, maintaining third spot over Dick Trickle.
By Jimmy Means, the Alka-Seltzer Pontiac, getting Trickle's line on the bottom of the racetrack, so Trickle's going to have to back off and follow Ken Schrader down through 1 and 2. And Rusty Wallace isn't that far in front of these cars. If Trickle could get by 25 cars driven by Schrader, I think he's got something for Rusty Wallace as well.
Yes, he is definitely. Those two cars are gaining on Rusty Wallace.
.45 laps to go in this one. There's second, third, and fourth. Wallace, Schrader, and Dick Trickle. The leader of the Budweiser 500 is Derek Cope, and we'll be back after this. Change of position as Rusty Wallace has fallen from second to fourth. Second place now is Schrader, then comes Dick Trickle, and then Rusty Wallace. Both of those cars were able to get by Rusty pretty easy.
When you find a loose race car, it's very difficult to race with anyone. You're trying basically to keep the thing between the two guardrails, between the outside guardrail and the inside guardrail. When they throw another car in there, you just want to back off and let them go on.
Good battle back in the pack. The car number 94 of Sterling Marlin up there. We're looking at Morgan Shepherd's windshield. The Motorcraft Ford, Bill Elliott is right in that battle as well. Bill Elliott behind him. They're battling for 7th position. Sterling Marlin running 7th. In the Sunoco Oldsmobile, Morgan Shepherd 8th, trying to take it away from him. And there's Bill Elliott coming into the picture. He is running in 9th place. Kyle Petty is running 10th. Last car on the lead lap.
40 more laps to go. Still got a relatively long way in this one. Anything can happen. Shepherd got a little sideways there coming off the corner.
Morgan had good position on Sterling, but couldn't quite make the pass. Here comes Bill, going to make it a 3-car race. Now, Derek Cope knows all about anything happening on the last lap on a stock car race. So if he was destined, he felt like for a second place finish in the Daytona 500. But guess what? Dale Earnhardt had a flat tire a half a lap from the start-finish line.
What a memorable moment in stock car history that was. Last February, Daytona. Dale cut the tire in turn 3 and had to give up the lead after he had dominated the Daytona 500, giving the win to Derek Cope. Morgan Shepherd now, once again, bids for that 7th position, but Marlin holds him off.
Morgan cannot get the grip he needs coming off the corners to drive by Sterling Marlin.
Now we see number 27, Rusty Wallace, and the 6th car of Mark Martin. And Mark is going to try to pass Rusty.
He's going to try to pass. Oh, they get together.
Ooh, they really rub on each other. And Mark Martin will go to 4th place.
You think?
Got it.
Rusty comes back. But you're right. Mark Martin in 4th spot.
Ricky Rudd not on the lead lap. He is a lap down in 11th position, the Levi Garrett Chevrolet. Back to the leader, meanwhile. It is Derek Cope from Spanaway, Washington, with 464 laps completed. Will Derek Cope be able to hang on and bring home his 2nd Winston Cup victory? Well, stay with us. We'll answer that in about a half hour. We are back at Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware, where we are in the closing laps of the Budweiser 500 with Derek Cope leading. 467 laps are completed. There is Ernie Irvin in car number 4 as he picks up a position and moves to 5th place, putting Rusty Wallace back another spot. And now here comes Sterling Marlin. Rusty is well off the pace and losing positions.
Awfully loose. Barry Dawson said that Rusty said it's loose, and evidently it's just undrivable.
But Rusty Wallace will pick up 5 bonus points this afternoon for leading the most most laps, I should say. And Morgan Shepherd now will close in on Rusty Wallace. Rusty takes the car to the bottom of the racetrack. And Morgan will get him.
With ease.
Yep. So Rusty Wallace, it appears, will not win his second consecutive race. He loses positions.
A lot of laps, Bob. Still 30 laps to go.
30 laps
Anything
to
can
go.
happen.
Yep, that's
Remember,
right.
this is the stock car race.
Ken Schrader now in second position with those 30 laps to go. And of course, the crew chief listed on Ken Schrader's car now is the car owner, the team owner, as a matter of fact, Rick Hendrick. We asked Schrader, is it tough to work for a guy as a chief mechanic?
Well, I tell you what, I don't complain to the crew chief, being that he also writes the checks. No, Rick's he's real good to work for. You know, I mean, Rick puts the people together that he's got confidence in. As long as we're all doing our best and getting along and working as a team, that's all he asks for. You know, little things that creep up and that's been biting our team. We can't control that all the time. So he's very understanding. He's a good racer. He understands this business.
And John Kernan is with Rick Hendrick.
Well, Rick Kenny's running second right now. Can he catch up with Derek?
I don't know. I thought Derek was getting his tires kind of hot. He was smoking them off at turn 3 up there, but 4. I don't know. We're a little bit tight. We might need more than just 30 laps, but we'll see. It's 30 long laps to go.
Now, one thing, Derek's running a Hendrick motor. You certainly don't shortchange those that you sell down the team.
Guys worked all night to get that engine to them up here this weekend. So, but, you know, they're running good. We're proud of them.
Rick Hendrick says they'd like to have a caution to get the car fixed, get the chassis fixed.
Rick Hendrick with John Kernan, and now here is Sterling Marlin going into 6th position, passing Ernie Irvin. And here comes Morgan Shepherd. This is a good 3-car race here. 6th, 7th, and 8th. Irvin and Marlin side by side.
There are those mobiles. They touch.
There's Darrell Walton on the inside.
And that might pinch Wilson inbound. No, Darrell moves down completely out of the way. But Sterling gets on by. Now Morgan Shepherd goes by. Jeff Bodine going another lap down in the Budweiser Ford.
So the slower traffic cost Ernie Irvin a chance to get by Sterling Marlin and also let Morgan Shepherd get by. That's got to struggle his way by those 2 cars, or see if he can anyway.
Well, they had run him down, so I guess.
Every car that Morgan Shepherd passes and picks up another position is just that many more points, and he's going to be ahead of Dale Earnhardt in the Winston Cup points battle after this event. Let's check out the leader and see how he's doing. Derek Cope. There he is at the end of the backstretch. Just ahead and now passing Richard Petty in car number 43. We'll show you the interval now between 1st and 2nd, and here comes Ken Schrader. There's the leader.
He isn't all that far behind, Bob.
No, he isn't. 2nd position. And Dick Trickle isn't all that far behind either.
Yep.
I got him about 2 8/10 seconds ahead. Derek Cope ahead of Ken Schrader.
Plenty of time for things to develop.
Cope makes another lap, just 22 to go now.
You can bet your bottom dollar that that crew is counting those laps down.
You know, this is going to be the longest 22 laps of his life because, as I said at Daytona, he didn't expect to win until just a few seconds until the race was over. Now he's got 15 minutes to wait.
And with just 21 more laps to go, it's still Derek Cope leading the Budweiser 500. Back in a moment. Derek Cope is 17 laps away from the checkered flag here at the Budweiser 500 at Dover Downs International Speedway. Derek Cope leads over Ken Schrader and Dick Trickle.
But his lead is dwindling away a little bit, Bob.
The question is, does Ken Schrader have enough time to close in and challenge Derek Cope?
There'll be 16 laps to go when they come back. Cope goes across the start-finish line. Here's Schrader. Now, my trusty stopwatch a while ago when I clocked him was 2.8. Now it's 2.23.
Wow. It's almost a half second.
Almost a half second. He is gaining.
If Derek Cope wins today, he'll only be the second driver this year to have multiple wins. Of course, Dale Earnhardt has 3 victories to his credit in 1990, and at this point, all other drivers have only won 1. Derek could be a 2-time winner in 1990. There's 1.9 seconds.
1.9, so Schrader is gaining.
This could get interesting. Don't go away.
Laps.
Now is not a good time to go to your refrigerator for your favorite beverage or sandwich. Schrader is really moving.
Yes, he is. And another thing that proves that, he's not only gaining on Derek Cope, but he has run away from Dick Trickle, who not too long ago was trying to move around.
Oh, he lost a little bit. The traffic. See the traffic?
Right.
Jeff Bodine and Darrell Waltrip had to go by those cars. Absolutely no cars between Derek Cope and Ken Schrader now. Let's see what happens.
Both running in clean air.
Here comes Cope. Here comes Schrader. 2 seconds.
Cut it down just a little bit. Only 0.3 of a second, though.
And he has 12 laps to go when he returns.
Dick Trickle runs third. Looks like the pole jinx at Dover will continue. Not since 1976 has a pole sitter won at Dover.
Cope. Schrader. Oh, Cope is gaining.
Yeah. Lost some that time. Maybe Buddy Parrott said, better turn up the wick a little bit. That 25's coming.
Well, you know, Buddy told John a few laps ago that he's going to have to talk to Derek and kind of keep him calm. And maybe now Buddy has said, okay, Derek, he's gaining, at least maintain your position. 11 laps to go. 489 are complete. There's Trickle running third. Dick Trickle, the pole sitter, won't apparently pick up the Unical Challenge money of $22,800. $7,600 will be added to that for next weekend at Sears Point International Raceway in Sonoma, California. We'll be there live next Sunday afternoon.
How much is that real quick?
What? 5, 2, 7, 9. I don't know.
30,400, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Thank you, Ned, very much.
Less than 10 to go now for Derek Cope. Dick Trickle's had a good run. He survived a spin. He survived other obstacles out there on the racetrack and runs third. How about it, John Kernan? Is there a conversation between Buddy Parrott and Derek out there?
Well, Buddy has told Derek to mash the gas and go, but the most interesting thing to happen here in the pits, Kenny Schrader's and Derek Cope's pits are right next to one another, and Rick Hendrick and Buddy Parrott were laughing at each other and pointing their fingers at each other and shaking their fists at each other and having a good old time. Now let's go down pit road to Dr. Jerry Ponce.
Well, the speculation here, John, is that when everyone pitted back about lap 420, most of the cars took on 4 tires. Derek Cope, on the other hand, took on only 2 tires. They're figuring that what's happening now, that 2 tire changes are beginning to show up a little bit these last 10 laps, that maybe Cope's tires are going away.
7.5 laps to go for Derek Cope. Are his tires going away? Can Ken Schrader catch him? The interval remains just about where it was, right at 2 seconds. Here's Derek moving off the 4th corner and completing lap 493. 7 laps to go for Derek Cope.
He has driven a whale of a race.
Yes, he has. You've got to give credit to the whole team down there because they have done such a fine job getting him in and out of the pits. And you got to take your hat off to the Bob Whitcomb team overall because pulling off that outstanding win at Daytona and now en route to victory here this afternoon, they have become a major contender in Winston Cup competition. 6 to go, 6 laps to go.
And we're going to some races that Derek Cope runs well on. Michigan is one of his better racetracks on the circuit.
He was the Winston West Rookie of the Year in 1984 and collected 4 Winston Cup wins. And there are the 2 pits that John spoke of. Derek Cope's on the left and Ken Schrader's on the right. first and second position on the racetrack. 5 to go.
They don't have to go far to figure out what the other guy's going to do on a pit stop, do they?
The furthest anyone has ever started and won the race was Bill Elliott, who began in 17th position and won the race in '88. Derek Cope started 15th this afternoon. 4 more laps to go. Ooh, it looks like Ken is really closing in now. 4 laps to go, less than 4.
Everybody told him to back off the gas a little bit. He is getting it. You're right.
Yeah, he is.
Keep those tires cool as you can. Driver in a straight line. Don't smoke those tires coming off of the turn now.
Meanwhile, in 5th position, the 94 of Sterling Marlin and the 15 of Morgan Shepherd continue to go at it. This is for 5th position. Marlin right now in 5th, but the new Winston Cup points leader, Morgan Shepherd, is in 6th.
It's incredible. If he finishes where he is, it looks like he's going to keep his string of top 10 finishes going again. Every race this year, this 15 car, the Motorcraft Ford, has finished in the top 10.
Outstanding, consistent performance this year from Morgan Shepherd in the Bud Moore prepared Motorcraft Ford.
Well, they were given the 2-lap signal. Derek Cope was the last time around.
There's some heavy traffic up in front of Cope as we watch the 94 car of Sterling Marlin and Morgan Shepherd, but some heavy traffic that Cope is approaching now.
That's a good race, but we have to leave it to see what's happening to Derek Cope, the leader. And here is Derek moving off the 4th corner with the white flag being displayed. 1 more lap to go, and the leader in heavy traffic. That's Darrell Waltrip that he passes on the high side of turn number 1. Cope now in the 2nd corner, off of it down the backstretch. He's got some good racing room in front of him now as he's cleared that traffic, and it appears as if Derek Cope is going to win his 2nd Winston Cup race of 1990 and the 2nd of his career. Cope off the 4th corner. Here's the checkered flag, and Derek Cope wins the Budweiser 500. Here comes the battle now for 5th position. Sterling Marlin and Morgan Shepherd, and Marlin is going to take 5th spot, but Morgan Shepherd finishes 6th and has the Winston Cup points lead.
Wow, man. Derek Cope, Buddy Parrott, congratulations. And that's what Ken Schrader was saying to Derek. You have done one whale of a job.
They have done an outstanding job today. The driver, the crew, everybody associated with that team, bringing Derek Cope another victory. Let's go to John Kernan, who's with Buddy.
Well, Buddy, I don't think I've ever seen a better all-around team effort anywhere.
Well, the last time we had a team effort like this was in 1984, and I had a Dayglow car, and the number was 43. I just wanted to come back and win this race. I can't hardly talk. I tell you, I'm really excited for the team. The guys have come together. We had great pit stops. We lost, we got behind on the fuel mileage deal. But I tell you what, it's a great day for this team. It's a hard-fought race. Thanks to Chevrolet, all their support, and Pure Later, everybody, all of our sponsors. Goodyear Tire had a great tire today. We just love everybody.
I tell you what, there may have been some doubts about Derek Cope's ability after winning the Daytona 500, but he left no doubt about it today. He is a legitimate contender.
Yeah, I think you're right. There was some talk that Derek Cope would win only on the super speedways, but he has won here on the 1 mile, Monster Mile at Dover, Delaware, and the Budweiser 500. We'll be back to talk with them in a moment. In victory lane is a very happy Derek Cope. And let's go down to our Road Handler Winner's Circle interview with Dr. Jerry Punch.
Derek just catching his breath and getting out of the car, getting a big drink of Gatorade. Derek, congratulations on an excellent effort.
Thank you very much. I'll tell you, it was an excellent run. Thanks, buddy. I'll tell you, the Pure Later Chevrolet Alumna, it ran perfectly all day long, right from the start. And I was just trying to be patient, We're just starting to learn about this Chevrolet, and I'll tell you what, it definitely had my heart beating all day. But we're looking good. The team worked hard, had some great pit stops. I couldn't believe it. It was incredible.
They said maybe in Daytona you might have backed into one. This one you didn't back into at all. This one you earned all day long.
Well, we struggled a little bit after Daytona, and we were emphatic that we were going to come back and we were going to get one, for sure on our own laurels. And we knew we were fast here. We didn't qualify as well as we wanted to. The driver kind of gave up a little bit qualifying, but we drove hard all day long. I drove hard as I could, and Buddy, those guys, they busted their little tails in there as hard as they could, and it all came together for us.
Last few laps looked like Schrader was beginning to close a little bit.
Yeah, he was, and I was trying to get in the corner too hard. I'd move up the racetrack. They started telling me the interval times. I tried to go to the bottom of the racetrack and be smooth, get the car off the bottom, and that seemed to work all day for us, and it's what won the race for us.
There will be a celebration next week when you return home, when you're going to California there at Sears Point. A lot of folks from Spanaway will be down there to watch you.
Well, that's true. I got to say, Bob Wick was back home. He didn't make it down here. Hi, Bob. I wish you were here, but we're thinking of you. And I got to say hi to my father, my brother, Amber and Angela and Ashley and Mary and everybody back home because, they couldn't be at Daytona, but I know they got this one on TV.
Derek Cope in a record run here at Dover, Delaware. Buddy Parrott and the crew, they celebrate the Purelator victory here in the Budweiser 500. They are indeed happy here at Dover. Bob?
The celebration in Victory Lane, and Derek Cope led 92 of the 500 laps here this afternoon in his second career Winston Cup victory. The top 20 finishers in the Budweiser 500. Derek Cope wins, Ken Schrader second, Dick Trickle finishes third, Mark Martin fourth, and Sterling Marlin fifth. Finishing sixth was Morgan Shepherd, followed by Ernie Irvin, Bill Elliott, Kyle Petty, and Rusty Wallace. In 11th was Ricky Rudd. 12th was Dale Jarrett. 13th, Terry Labonte. Jeff Bodine finished 14th, and Butch Miller was 15th. 16 through 20, Jim Sauter in relief of Bobby Hillen, Darrell Waltrip, Brett Bodine, Davey Allison, and Jimmy Horton. Now, here are the unofficial points. Morgan Shepherd takes over the lead with 1,662. Mark Martin is second with 1,630. Dale Earnhardt falls all the way to third position in the point standings. Rusty Wallace, here he comes, is in fourth position. He moves up one more spot, and Jeff Bodine falls to fifth position. Now, if it weren't for the 46-lap penalty imposed against Mark Martin after Richmond, Mark Martin would be the points leader. But as it is, Morgan Shepherd has the lead at this point. As we head for the road course at Sonoma, California. And the fans here at Dover today saw an excellent race with Derek Cope coming home a winner. We'll be back to talk with some of the other competitors in this event right after this. The first appearance of the Winston Cup cars at Dover Downs International Speedway in 1990, the Budweiser 500, completed here this afternoon, and the winner was the winner of the Daytona 500, Derek Cope. Third place finisher standing by with John Kernan.
Well, Dick, you say you're not tired, just hot. You ready to go out there and run another 500 here?
Well, I think we need to replace the shock on the rear because about 2/3 through the race, a shock failed on us and the car started bouncing, especially in the bumps off of two. And, I called it in there, and then we had a flat tire at one time and got spun out because of it, which was my own fault because I was trying to drive with a flat tire and all over the racetrack. But we did a lot of racing, coming from the back, front to back, the front to the back, and we had, at times we had a car good enough to win the race, but it didn't have to be at the end. I think if we could have got a shock on her, which would have cost us too much time, we wouldn't have got third. So he just said, drive it out, And Doug told me to put a cool suit in there, and I said, "No, we don't need one." I told him in the race, I said, "Next time you tell me to put one in, put it in. Don't even ask me," because car drove good. I didn't really get tired, but I got terrible warm in the car. I hope Phillips 66, Top Product Motor Oil, and Pontiac, and Kale, and all the guys are proud because we worked hard to get this. We've been having a couple pretty good weeks here.
Dick Trickle, a third-place finish after some adversity. Now with our second-place finisher, let's go down to the garage area to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, we're with Ken and Dorothy Schrader. Now, Ken's the one with the uniform on. Kenny, a great run for you today.
We can't complain. Little Kodiak car run off good. We took on 4 tires at the end, and that's what we thought we needed to do. We got around Derek, and he got back around us. He was just plain old faster, so I'm glad, them guys had a good run. They deserve to win.
How'd your crew chief do today? This some guy named Henry.
You got to remember, I've really been working without a crew chief for the last couple of weeks, and Rick's been filling in. He stands down there and stuff, and he'll talk to us when we're doing good, but we start doing bad, he just yells at us.
I can't tell you what's been going on in the front of this truck between Hendrick and Schrader. They have been absolutely just giving each other all kinds of grief back and forth. But Kenny Schrader, Ken, a great run for you today here. Did you think you might have a shot at running him down here in the last few minutes, last few laps?
Well, we were like 3 behind, and we wound up a little under 2 behind, and I was driving hard as I could, and I got to chalk that gain up there to a little bit of conservativeness on Derek's part. So, we had to try, but he had us covered.
Kenny Schrader would like to pick up that win, but he finishes second here at Dover, Delaware.
Back at Dover Downs, where Derry Cope has won the Budweiser 500. A recalculation of the points credits Dale Earnhardt with 31st, give him 1,603 points and not 1,600 as we earlier had, but he still remains third in the point standing. Let's get down to John Kernan, who's with Mark Martin.
Mark finished 4th today. You were dominant in the early part of the race, but are you still satisfied with the top 5 run?
Well, you take what you can get in this business. We did the best we could. That Folgers Valvoline team is the greatest. I got to give them all the credit. They work so hard in the pits, and they're the ones with the, that figure these things out and adjust on the car all day. And we got a little bit off through the middle of the day. The track changed a little bit. And, they just put me in great cars every week, and they're the greatest in my book.
How much of a factor, you running so many laps under green and having so many greens stop, what difference does that make as far as getting the car off?
Well, it's harder to adjust on it on a green flag pit stop. We adjusted the best we could, and we got 4th. Hey, that's great, okay? It beats 14th. That's all we could do today. There were some cats out there that could outrun us, and we'll just go on to Sears Point and try to set on the pole and win. The guys did a great job, and I feel great. This is the best I've felt after a race in a long, long time. We did all we could do today.
All right, thank you, Mark. A 4th place finish, and the new points leader, Morgan Shepherd, and our Dr. Jerry Punch is with him.
Well, John, he didn't tell anyone this morning, but he's been a sick puppy for about 2 days up here fighting an intestinal fluid. Wasn't sure he'd even be able to get in the race car. Well, he got in the race car and ran a full 500 laps. Morgan, first of all, congratulations on taking control of the point lead.
Thank you, Jerry. It was a trying day for us, but it really didn't take away from the driving. I didn't tell none of the guys that I was all that sick, but about half an hour before the race, I had to run to the bathroom, but I made it all day, and it really didn't take away from the driving.
Now, yesterday, you hit the wall pretty hard here in the Busch race, and a lot of people were concerned you might be even sore because of that, but you were able to manage a full afternoon after that.
Well, it was pretty hard lick, and it did use up the back end of the race car, but I'm okay, and I'm just tickled that we got another top 10 finish, and this way we can keep building strength in this motorcraft team.
Well, wife Sonja and the family are back home in Conover, North Carolina, and he did finish 6th today, Sonja, and is the new Winston Cup point leader. Indeed, Morgan Shepherd, a great effort today. Morgan?
Sonja, I'm okay. We'll see you early in the morning, and hi, Shanda. Bye.
Shanda the little Shepherd at home, too. Let's go. Back at Dover, Delaware here in the Budweiser 500. Rusty Wallace was one of the dominant cars all afternoon, but at the end, Rusty, the car began to fade. What happened?
Well, we just put a set of tires on right there at the very end for that last 80-lap shootout, and all of a sudden I started getting real loose. And then it got looser and looser and looser, and Derek caught me and passed me, and I'd like to congratulate him, but it just kept getting looser and looser and just started going backwards. But the car was strong all day long. Crew got me in and out quick, and that's all I can say about it.
After Charlotte and the way you ran today, the guys have really got their act together.
They're really together, and I was really pumped up. I thought we'd go for 2 in a row right here, but it just didn't work out that way.
Rusty Wallace gave it a gallant effort. So did Barry Dotson and the crew. Here, Bob.
And congratulations to Rusty Wallace. We'll take a look now at the top 20 here in the Budweiser 500. And, gentlemen, a great race.
It was a great race, but I saw Darrell Walter finish 17th. I knew it wouldn't blow up. I knew it'd run all day.
Fellas, 10 cars finishing in the lead lap here at Dover, Delaware is incredible. Especially as much green flag racing as we had there for a long period of time. That means that a lot of teams has their act together.
We only had 5 caution periods and no serious accidents during the afternoon. It was a very safe race and really a very fast one that was won by Derry Cope. There you see that Jim Sauter was finishing in 16th position. Now coming up, our congratulations to Derry Cope on his win here this afternoon. Don't forget Motor Week Illustrated Monday at 7:30 and Speed Week at 7:30 next Saturday night. Thanks to Benny Parsons and Ned Jarrett for their help in the booth, and Dr. Jerry Punch and John Kernan for their help on pit road. We'll see you next Sunday afternoon from Sears Point International Raceway. This is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone.